I'm Auntie AK and I'm here with
Auntie Farah,
Aunty Nana,
Auntie Sade,
and some special people in the house. Please introduce yourselves.
Uncle Marvyn.
You was ready.
Yes.
You was ready for it.
That's the last time I was like real Marvyn.
Uncle Marvyn.
Yeah, Uncle Marvyn.
Uncle Nii.
Why we got some extra uncles in the house today, ladies? It's Aunties and
Uncle
Uncles
Day.
Did I get it wrong? Auntie Farah?
International Auntie and Uncles Day.
Okay.
International.
Yeah.
So this is the day that they're celebrating the auntie and the uncle.
Internationally.
Internationally.
Wow. I was
It's
really curious about what it meant. But
Internationally. That means not just here.
Yeah, internationally, around the world, for all 195 countries, they are celebrating.
There's more than 195.
I was going to
say.
No, look it up.
226. That's what
I always see 195.
I'm going to have to look it up.
You've got 226. I have 195.
What are we
There's
learning?
57 in Africa alone. You know what I mean? We've got to really know our stuff.
I'm going
That's
Marvyn.
it.
Yeah, and like, there's all
There's
these hidden.
7,000 islands in the Caribbean.
Well, there you go. And it's Pacific, Solomon Islands.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
this is what
Yeah, but when did you?
When did I? I think it's like in all reports.
Well, Nana
Which report?
is absolutely right.
What about
There are 195
And that's why I went with my wife.
But
But
there's
you
a caveat
questioned
to
your
that.
wife.
Exactly.
What?
He didn't go
But
with me at all.
in a relationship, that's what you have to do. You have to question
Repeat that
people.
again. What happened?
In a relationship, you have to question each other. Yeah.
Exactly.
What?
195, Marvyn, you was wrong.
Yeah, you were wrong.
Let's not let that.
Singled out.
Because you're the one that offered an
You said it
alternative.
was 226.
Yeah, but there's an asterisk to that. Sade just hasn't finished reading.
Okay, go on.
It does
We're gonna
say
be
the
here for
total comprises of 193 countries that are members of the United States and 2 countries that are non-member observer states, the Holy See and the State of Palestine.
See,
So
it's the
technically,
colonial- it's the
There's
colonial approach.
195.
But reality, there's a lot
Yeah,
more.
because
There's people
not
that
all
are
of them-
hiding as well.
And not all of them are
There's
free, isn't it?
And we haven't.
So I was still right. No, I was right, yeah?
You're right.
You are
technically.
right,
You're
yeah.
right. You're right.
To
I'm not
whiteness, you were right.
disputing your
According to whiteness.
whiteness. Wow.
Yeah, and then dodgy maps.
I was about to say that.
Wow.
According to politics, government, and the man, you're right.
I said that I've been
According to
fed
the
this
rebel
information.
cells, you're not right.
This is how disinformation gets spread.
It is true, but also
Because you are right.
you are right. Technically, we're living in the first part of the Matrix.
All right, Donald Trump.
So we're celebrating aunties and uncles. I would like to do. I know we've got to do the game. You got an aunties and uncle game ready?
I did. Why are you looking at me like
just-
that?
Beef. There's always beef.
That's
Sorry,
good.
Marvyn. All right, I do have an aunties and uncles themed game. Okay, I'm gonna go around the room.
Okay.
Pick one to speak at your wedding.
Oh no.
We'll start with Auntie AK.
Why?
Aunt Patty, Aunt Selma from The Simpsons. Do you know the aunts?
Oh, okay,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah,
All right.
Simpsons. Uncle Buck, Uncle Fester, or Uncle Albert from Only Fools and Horses.
Who's the first one, though? Uncle what? Selma.
Auntie Pat, Auntie Patty.
Patty.
Auntie
Who's that?
Patty and Aunt. What's
You
her
know
name?
the two
Sister.
sisters.
Twins.
Aunt Patty and Selma.
Yeah,
Yeah.
ones that
Okay,
smoke constantly.
Okay, number 2 is
Uncle Buck.
from
Okay,
Uncle
you need
Buck.
to put the things
Uncle
on
Buck.
and listen for
The film,
longer.
Uncle Buck.
what John Candy.
Yeah,
That's so old. Okay, and then
but you know the film, though, right?
Vaguely,
And you
I
know
know-
the actor.
No, I was trying to.
actually know the actor.
Oh my
Please.
god.
Don't aggressive to each other.
I know, like.
I'm not involved.
It doesn't feel like a safe space. It doesn't feel like a safe
Coming back
space.
in 20
minutes.
The reason why is because I couldn't remember
What
how
I
it goes
started
on.
with you. I should have remembered that this takes long with you. Let's go with someone else. Uncle Nii, pick one.
No, I think Uncle Buck doesn't be my choice because he's a legend.
Uncle Buck is your choice
Yeah.
to speak at your wedding.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Auntie Nana.
Uncle Buck as well.
Okay. Uncle Nii.
Uncle Albert.
Okay.
Who's on that one?
Auntie Sade.
Only Fools and Horses.
Selma or Patty. Oh, for real?
Yeah.
I'm going with Uncle Albert. I thought
Yeah.
Uncle Albert was jokes still, and
Yeah.
he's never meant to be.
Uncle
Oh,
Albert, because he's
The
from.
smoking twins, I guess. None of them are relevant to my life.
I mean,
Wow.
Where's all the black uncles?
Wow.
No, black uncles, that's why.
But you
No,
see
there could
now,
have been like Uncle Desmond, Uncle Matthew, Uncle Pork Pie.
But those are good uncles that you'd want really to speak
You don't want Uncle Pork Pie speaking at your
Like
wedding.
Uncle Pork Pie to speak at my wedding.
No,
I would definitely-
Funny.
You
You're
wouldn't
trying
want
to
Uncle
overshow
Desmond,
it.
you wouldn't want
I
Desmond
would
to be
definitely want
cousin.
Matthew. I'd want Uncle Matthew.
I'd want Uncle.
Yeah.
I want that for sure.
I'd want Uncle
No,
Desmond.
none of them.
I want an
None of
offensive
them.
monologue.
Because that's
That's what I'm saying. That's something about Uncle Buck and Uncle Albert and the twins. But I'll pick the twins if I had to.
Okay,
Okay, next one.
thanks. One's got to go. Auntie Angela Bassett, Uncle Samuel Jackson, Uncle Denzel Washington, or Auntie Oprah.
Auntie Oprah's mad problematic, so she might have to go in.
Oh wow.
That's who I'm going to
Yes,
go
one's
with, you
gotta
know.
go.
I'm going
Auntie
with
Oprah.
Auntie Oprah. I don't,
Okay.
yeah, she got to go.
Wow. Let's hope she
I
don't
know.
ever see this.
I know.
That's a big deal for her to
I
say
know.
that.
Oh wow.
Because I was going to say the first guy you said, I can't remember. his
Samuel
name.
L. Jackson.
Yeah, because he has some mad things to say about British people.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
he
that.
does.
You
Yeah.
sound like an old ass uncle right now.
Yeah.
But Oprah's mad problematic. I swear to God. She got a cave with.
She got a cave.
No,
Did you say that? Uncle Marvyn, did you say Auntie Oprah's got a cave?
I'd like to continue with this.
With living, with life. Yeah.
You've already said it.
He doesn't want to end up in the cave.
Oh my god.
He actually wants to carry on being alive.
I have goals and children.
So you'd like to retract that statement, Auntie
I do.
Oprah?
I will get rid of all of them and just keep Auntie Angela Bassett. Thank you.
To yourself, yeah?
Wow.
Hey, talk about it.
Auntie Sade, your favourite.
I think this is so hard, but I will have to get rid of Auntie Angela Bassett, unfortunately. I know, but I just think that Oprah, as much as she may be perceived as being problematic, what she's contributed to the culture is
Too
just
much.
insane. It's too much.
She made
And
a
I do
billion out
think-
of it, to be fair. I don't feel like she's given at a deficit, so I think she's done all right out of her giving. But the problematic stuff is really loud, man.
You need to stop.
But I think in terms of getting to a status like that, it's always going to be
It's
problematic to somebody.
That's true.
Oprah's like,
We can do a
Marvyn,
Zoom
I
call.
see what you're doing. I really
So what?
love
So
what
what
you're
she
doing.
says that.
I want to invest in
Oh,
it.
with
I've
your
already
new
said no.
book, she wants to put it on her
On
Oprah's
her
reads
book
list.
club.
Yeah,
Yeah,
book
Do a
club,
Zoom call about it, it'd be dope.
and she
No,
puts
but
it on the
you can't have,
list.
like loads of people, but like I mean, like one-on-one. She
Wow.
invites you
What do you think
to a
she's gonna
hotel.
do? Take your
I don't know,
organs?
man.
So I'm not saying
I need clarification on her being. I'm sorry.
Wow.
Oh, wow, you're going
Wow.
into business territory.
Yeah, no, I need clarification. I need answers.
That's
Also, the
insane.
thing is, yeah, she's been famous so long.
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
actually know who she is. You have no idea. Like she owns a ranch. There's a lot going on, man. I just want people that are in the
What?
public domain.
She's got money. Of course,
Yeah,
she
I know,
owns a
but
ranch.
people that own ranches
Yeah.
are weird, man.
No, enough of that. If you had some...
All right, would you go visit her on the ranch?
The
Yes.
thoughts-
I'll go to her house.
All of
you
the
think
thoughts of
about-
I wouldn't go.
Marvyn
I'd go to the
and
hotel. I
Auntie
wouldn't go to the
Nanas.
ranch.
Why?
All of
What do
you
you
think
think is
about
going to
Because the
happen?
ranch is in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, you're gonna get buried by the horseman.
Yeah, I don't.
You're all
That's like
Unless
you're
you're
gonna be there.
actually
She loves black
problematic,
women.
what have you got to? Yeah,
Yeah, you guys need to watch yourselves. But
Yeah,
black women are
yeah,
we're
yeah.
fine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
listen, check your...
We're fine.
yeah,
Black
we're
women are
fine.
So because you're fine, it's okay.
I'm just saying, I understand your
Let's
caution.
just look at the trend
I
of
don't
violence
understand.
against people, and let's just say that we're fine. I'm fine. I don't have nothing to worry about. I'm fine. Nothing to worry about.
You're fine.
Yeah, cognitive agenda. I'm fine.
Anyway,
I work out.
Auntie Sade,
Yeah.
you said Auntie Angela Bassett,
Yes,
right?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Auntie AK, did you answer?
Uncle Sam, just because basically what he said on the
British people.
British
Yeah.
people.
Oh,
Well,
fair.
you know, we love you.
I
all
concur.
of his feet.
I
What?
concur.
All of his
As
films.
much as I love him, I did not love what he had to say about British people.
Oh my god!
And he's
But you
down as
know,
well.
but
Yeah,
you know,
he
he's
didn't go back
he's
on it.
just not. He's just not well informed. He's just such
But
a
I mean,
should
look
be.
where his uncle.
And that's the
He's
point.
super
For
uncle.
someone at his
And
status,
also, can't he
should
defend
be.
his own? He's allowed to
He
defend
can,
his own.
but his
Yeah, but
point
it was out the negative.
was
It was,
missed.
yeah.
Oh man!
No, sorry, he's
I mean,
got to go.
He's still here.
Actual Samuel.
Actual Samuel
No.
L. Jackson. As much as I love him.
It's just a
Last
guy.
one. Last one.
Okay.
Right, you have to
Okay.
make one of these your aunt or your uncle. You
Oh,
have to
God.
make them. Okay.
Yeah.
Kemi, as Auntie Nana would say, bad Enoch.
Wow.
Absolutely not.
Isn't it? Ain't it great?
Absolutely.
It's really good, isn't it?
Absolutely.
I was very proud of myself.
Yeah. Rishi Sunak, Suella Braverman,
Who's Suella?
the
other
other
one.
one.
Oh.
The other one.
Oh, okay.
She's not in the runnings again.
Or Sajid Javid. One of them has to.
Oh,
be.
Rishi, easily.
Rishi.
Easily.
Okay,
What?
why?
He's my
Billionaire.
uncle.
Money.
He's got money for days. He's got
Just
money
come
for
alive.
days.
You're my uncle.
He will sort me out. I'll get one of those government contracts. I'm good for life. I'm good for
Who's
life.
my uncle is a different
I'm
thing.
alright,
It's not like
man.
just as,
Part of the family. You're mad. Of course.
I don't know
100%.
nothing. I don't know never if he's told or not, but
100%.
on paper. Let's go with him.
He's gonna have to
What's
be.
Kemi
because
gonna do?
Was Pretty in there?
No.
Kerry
Okay.
will ship you.
That's what I'm saying.
No, it's
She'll
Rishi.
ship you
It's
to
Rishi.
Rishi.
to the village, mate. I'm talking
Go on,
about
Uncle.
That's a quiet.
Uncle Rishi. Straight like.
Yeah.
Same.
Traumatized, man.
I know,
I know, right?
It's a lot.
Yeah.
I visualize them all as like any of you come near me, like just like
Yeah.
I'll probably pick Kemi to be honest.
Oh.
What? Why?
Because I believe I can convert people like
No.
that.
Then you need to go to
can't.
Oprah's house and convert her. To
Yeah, exactly.
You just go listen, but Kemi,
Kemi were missing you as well.
Yeah,
Kemi were absolutely missing
Kemi
you.
can't be
Kemi will
I
converted.
feel like Kemi got bullied really violently growing up.
But you're not going to say it was especially as a black man. No.
No.
Kemi
No, that's
will.
exactly what I
In my mind, I
Don't
thought,
you dare.
let me get my black man on her. Let me show what a
She'll be
real black man
disgusted.
is.
She'll be like, "Oh, get it away from me!"
Exactly.
No, I
She would be.
She would be
She-
thoroughly
She
disgusted.
would be. She would be like,
No,
no, this
you
is
know
why.
what? When I speak to black conservatives, even the loud ones, their performance publicly is different to their views, and you can get to them.
When you're talking to them
But
normally.
is she
I
gonna
get
reach?
it.
Yeah, but
Yeah, but that's not
she's
what they
for the
stand
bag,
for.
And when they, you know,
No,
behind the
but
scenes,
she's not doing it for the bag. I feel she's had a negative experience with black people, and then she's become this.
Ooh.
Yeah, no, I think she's been bullied or had a negative experience with black people. And
I don't think that's enough, Marv, and I don't think you'll
I've got
convince
time.
her.
I've got time. I've helped many people before. I can help this one.
Yeah. So
Okay, well, if you can you do it then and help her? Like now?
I've had to reach out to her when
Who
first
says she
came out.
needs help? Who says she needs
No,
help?
she does.
She doesn't.
Because there's a different type.
Why
you can
does she
believe-
need help?
So
Because
if
she's
you look
a
at the
woman.
spectrum of black people who are conservatives, yeah, you got Bima Falabi or whatever, Kwasi Kwarteng. They're just
He needs
people-
help.
No, they're just people who believe in conservative values. Then there's people who dial it up and who are angry.
Mhm.
Suella Braverman and Kemi Badenoch are angry,
yeah.
and there's something else. No, you should never be that angry about those things.
Why?
You shouldn't even bother to even hit the register of care.
What's
So let
Kemi
me
said
go
that
to-
makes her angry?
Her tone.
Yeah, she's just.
She is
Her whole
angry.
tone
She's
is
always
angry.
angry.
She
She, it's
She
not,
hates
look,
black folk.
You can
Yeah,
say.
it's
I don't think she's
immigration is a
angry.
really- you can say immigration is a really important subject matter, and we need to have reviews with really stringent things in place. You can say that as a sentence, or you can completely dismiss the idea of like race equality, completely dismiss the idea of there being any form of like classism in the UK, and do it with such a tone of disgust for people on the left centre. It's out of this world. It's too much passion, and you're black yourself.
So then, how do you tackle that?
Love.
Oh, come on. Oh.
Okay, that's another
I'm
good.
not gonna touch it. I don't mean like that, yo.
No, I didn't need it.
No.
Whoa.
No.
You got to get your mind out of
Anything
the
else?
gutter.
No. I don't like that means anything, but okay.
Wrap it up.
That's what she's
It's
going to
not.
say to
You
you.
know what it is? I think sometimes people like that need proximity to people in a different way. And whenever
For
I
sure.
held space with those types of people, very quickly, not that they evolve out of their view long term, but they curb their enthusiasm for anti-blackness. And I
Yeah,
think,
maybe
No, I
in
think-
front of you.
Yeah, I think.
Maybe in
No,
front of
it's
you for the
continuous.
conversation.
I've
I
had
don't
these
think
conversations
this
in
woman
space.
is going to be changing her mind about anything, no matter
Okay.
what, who speaks to her. She is made up. This is what she wants. This is the position she's putting herself in. So I just don't think this is just who she is, and we have to accept that some people are just like that, and she's one of
People
them.
are
She
like
wasn't
that.
born
No,
here,
she
was she?
is.
No,
She's
no,
actively.
She was.
She was born
Yeah.
in Wimbledon.
Was she?
Well, and then went
Yeah,
back
her
to
Her
Nigeria.
parents are Nigerian. She went back to Nigeria and the US and came back.
I don't
When
think
she was
I
16.
thought she was born
Oh,
in Wimbledon
yeah.
after. But
Sorry.
She's a
I was
Nigerian
going to
icon.
say, I fully.
Sorry.
I fully
Oh,
agree
just-
with Aunty
that's
Sade
offensive.
In that some people are just naturally. Sorry.
Yeah.
That some people are just naturally against their own,
Yeah.
and she is one of them.
Yeah.
But
You
there's a
you cannot
catalyst.
save everybody, regardless of what it is that has put her on that path. That is a path that she's on, and that is a path that she wants to continue on. She says everything that she says with her full chest.
Yep.
Yeah, she believes everything that she
Well,
says.
why
There's not
though?
a black person.
Because she's an
on this
individualistic
planet
person. She
that
wants
can change her
power.
mind.
I think
That's
you
what
meet
she
her with
wants. She wants
logic and
power.
you can batten down her arguments as an educated, informed black person. But while she's on this train of she's trying to get, the goal she's trying to achieve, she's not going to change.
You don't even need to give her logic because her points are not logical.
But that's my
And
point.
that's
If you
already
meet her,
been
because
presented
she's
to
not around, as you're saying, surround her with, if she's surrounded
She's a
herself
tool,
constantly
man. I don't even know why
with
you guys
people
are
who could
trying.
like give common sense to what she's saying, counter argument. But because she's an agent, because she's on this path, it doesn't matter. It'll be a lot of energy wasted
Those
from both
paths come
sides.
to an end. I'm telling you now.
For sure.
Yeah, it does.
For sure.
All those people have a real catalyst as to why they've become these people.
Yeah.
If you listen to Candice Owens' stories, there's something that happened with her dad, I believe.
Yeah.
There's another one with Dominic Samuel. Something also happened to her dad. There's a lot of them who hold that space.
Yeah.
I
have
swear
had
they,
those experiences.
but they talk
never
about,
had a
they
just
only
trajectory
talk about
that's
this so you understand where they're coming from. So therefore you give them space. No, just know they're horrible people and they're doing this as adults.
Yeah.
And they're doing this and they're affecting people, affecting our people for the negative. So
No,
no.
I don't believe people are horrible. I think they're just challenged and impacted. That's it. And once I look at it from that lens, there's compassion for a road to redemption. But they have to take.
I agree with you.
I think there's roads to redemption, just whether or not they want to. It's a choice.
No, I don't
Everything is
think
a choice.
everyone
Those
has.
days comes. Life will life for you, man. Like you can't
Yeah.
hold that space.
Everyone gets there eventually.
Yeah.
Every far right wing person has had to come off their horse and deal with the reality of the things that they've said.
Like Stacey Dash.
Yeah, all of them. There's no. You don't hold.
What
that
do you mean?
space and
In
then
life
you
or
go back.
death? Is
No,
what are you trying to
it's-
say?
it's
During
Stacey
life,
Dash.
you think every right wing
Dash is alive.
person. No. I know she's
Oh.
alive. I mean, in general, you said every right wing person.
I think
They
it's
come
like-
to the.
That hold that
Are
space.
you serious?
When
I
you
think
have the
that's-
public
that's
space,
an
I think all of them
That is
eventually
a-
meet their.
Katie Hopkins. What has she done to
them?
them? And she's
No, but
with.
there's
She's
meeting-
yes.
there's meeting
So
with,
what's that
their-
got to do with what she thinks?
No, it's not.
But
it's
she's
the
paying the
platform.
price for it.
Yeah,
She's paying the
whether or not
price.
they change their
It-
mind.
I don't
it's
think
very
so.
in the words. She's no longer being platformed. Nigel Farage has been deplatformed significantly.
Where were we when we got here?
Who of these evil oppressors do we want to be our uncles?
And everyone
That we
went
had to make our uncle
with-
or
and you went with
auntie.
Kemi.
And then Marvyn went with
Safer.
Kemi.
And
Yeah.
everyone else went with Rishi.
He said,
Yeah.
sorry,
I am
quote,
not
Kemi
surprised.
is my G. Yeah, that's what you want your quote to be. Fuck
She
you
ain't
know.
going carnival. She ain't going
No,
nowhere.
she's
She's
gonna
gonna shut Carnival down. No, she will shut it down.
She was Theresa May who danced with her back.
She would round up.
Close carnival.
No. She won't even close. She won't even close it. She will get the what
Was
they
it all
call
okay?
the immigration people to actually sweep
Yes.
Carnival while it's happening.
Exactly.
That's what she'll do
That's what she
Yeah, she was sweet.
to make a point.
Listen,
She freaking will.
And you would have brought her
She
there.
will. You would.
She do all of the things like, yes, I went to Carnival. She used it in her
And then Marvyn will
campaign.
be there, but I
It's
tried
like,
to
not
love her.
anti-fat.
I tried to give her compassion.
That's how I was calling it.
Serious.
All right.
caught and shipped.
Well,
Oh my god.
I mean,
Message.
Yeah.
dead.
We got there in the end.
it's like you try. I actually want to do the experiment. We should.
I think you should try and chat to her.
reach out to her.
I've got a week available in about 2 weeks' time. I'll do it.
You're gonna hang with her, yeah?
Chat to her.
No, I just wanted to chat when she first came to prominence.
And she just
And
said you said you're black. No thanks.
No, she didn't answer, but she didn't.
Yeah, but that's
She
why
was
she.
like,
Pretty sure.
That's what
Pretty
she
sure she saw your name. I'm
I'm
pretty sure she saw your name and said,
not
I
today.
wasn't
No.
verified then. I
I'm
verified
too
then.
She said.
too black.
Too black. I'm not even replying.
She's like, he doesn't even, he can't read.
It's time to welcome somebody to the family. This week, I thought we'd all welcome somebody. You like
What?
welcome your favorite auntie or uncle in life.
In life.
Oh, real one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Your
I
inspirational.
like that. Yeah.
Who would
Okay.
you like to be?
I didn't
No,
realize.
you could be who you like to be, who you're inspired by in your personal life and in the world at large.
Okay, I'll
Your
go
favorite
first.
auntie or uncle.
I'd like to welcome to the family my Auntie Mary. My Auntie Mary is going to be 92 years
Wow.
old next
Wow.
month on the 16th of August. And she is a phenomenal woman. Only in the last few years or so, I'd say that she doesn't get up and like go to the market and do her own thing herself because she's quite like frail now.
Yeah.
But Auntie Mary still lives on her own.
Oh.
She still does her thing. She'll still tell you stories. Like she's just the loveliest person. She's like the firstborn on my grand's side of the family, and she's now the last one too. And it's a little bit heartbreaking, but Auntie Mary is just amazing. So that's why
I love that.
That's really cute.
Mine would be my auntie Aklia. She's my favorite auntie because she taught me everything I knew when it came to hair. I was kicked out of college, and my mum was like, "You're not going to sit on your ass and do nothing." So she shipped me to my auntie. She had a hairdresser's in White City, and it was super busy. And she taught me discipline. She's very strict. She's a typical auntie that's super strict, super funny, and really cool with it as well. She taught me everything about hairdressing, and I really, really rate her because she saved me at a time when I was a little bit off the rails. So and then my other auntie, Adna, she was my favorite cousin's mum, and she was one of my favorite aunties. My celebrity aunt is obviously Oprah. I tried to. I have been going through a stage of like disconnecting from Oprah, but when I thought about it, the woman has been so influential through my growing up years, and definitely when it comes to media, personality, and talking in interviews and stuff like that, I cannot deny the impact she's had on my life. So, Auntie Oprah.
My favorite auntie would have to be Auntie Toyin, and she was just good times. Like for those that don't know, I had a pretty traumatic childhood, and we weren't allowed out of our house a lot. And she would come in the summer holidays, and she would take us to Hyde Park. She would take us to Greenwich, and we'd just get those days out. And she was just so loving and so kind. So she just always really stood out to me. And my favorite uncle would be my Uncle Sonny, who I remember one time I had an argument at home, and I tried to run away to the end of the road, and he came running after me, and he was just like, your dad really loves you and all this kind of stuff. And he like offered me a cigarette, and I did smoke at the time, but I was like, no, because I didn't want to upset him and stuff. But I really appreciate that he tried to like talk to me on my level and stuff. And yeah, he was just really, really nice. And I don't really have a celebrity aunt or uncle, actually. Yeah, I think they're probably cousins. So yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Amazing. My auntie is Auntie Cheryl. She's my godmother. And I had the coolest godparents out of all my siblings, and I let everyone know that. She and her children are basically like brothers and sisters to us. She passed away when I was like 12 maybe, I can't remember anymore. And that was the first time I was heartbroken, actually. That was the first time I didn't understand like why. Because normally when people passed away, there was a clear reason. I was like, you're like not even 40 yet, and I couldn't believe it. So, and then uncles. The men in my family are very interesting. I like the new generation of Harrisons. They're my favorites. My brother specifically. And then famous wise, it's a tough one, man. I'm gonna say Richard Blackwood. I'll just make him my uncle. He technically he gave us all aspiration because he was on the TV making a lot of money, doing things that none of us had ever seen before.
Yeah.
And he felt like us. And he's probably 13, 14 years older than me. But like that gap is so big and so powerful. And I was just thinking the other day, and I was just like, you don't get your flowers at all, man. Like people talk about like amazing black people, and they'll just be like Rashford, Stormzy, Idris Elba, full stop. And you're just like, nah, this guy had all of that down way before anybody else. So I always want to give his flowers.
Okay, that's a good one.
Fair. My auntie and uncle, favorite ones, they're a married couple. They're my godparents, Auntie Peggy and Uncle Coffee. And I think they're just the best example of great parents that I've seen. Like my auntie is super fiery. Now she's a pastor, so she's not as fiery as she was when she was drinking, but she is a proper funny woman and just and intelligent. And when I was a kid, I would watch that and be like, you can be that woman and still have a mate. Like she would just run a room, like I loved her vibe. And Uncle Coffee just really liked all of the kids. Like you could sit with him and he would ask you like what you focused on and would really pump you up. Like you're really smart, you can do it. And he set up a Saturday school and he was just, as a couple, they're just amazing people. So Auntie Peggy and Uncle Coffee. And it would have been Oprah, but it's not her anymore. So I don't have any celebrity heroes.
My favorite uncle would be Uncle Sandy. So he was like my dad's best friend and they kind of grew up in Ghana together, came here together. And then when my dad passed away, it was always really sad seeing him, like whenever they would go to a family function, because he would just kind of be there and all the women would be chatting, kind of doing their things. But in that period as well, it was really nice because we got to, like, they used to have this kind of Friday night chill out at my uncle and auntie's house. And we would really kind of sit down and kind of get to know him more. And I think one of the things that really stands out is like when my dad passed, and just how highly he spoke about my dad and just kind of what the things that he shared that generally uncles don't really share. And it's just like, if not for your dad, X, Y, Z, and whatnot have you. And I really saw our relationship kind of open up. And yeah, and so he's passed now as well. That was 6 years ago. But definitely, he's like, I will sit sometimes and just be like, I really miss him, you know. I really miss him. My favorite celebrity uncle, I think, would be Uncle Denzel, just because I always I just admire his work ethic. And I'm sure that there's probably stories about him being problematic and whatnot have you, but I like the fact that he's there with his family still. And if there are, like, you know, side pieces
Some hoes
in the thing, at least we haven't heard from them. So I don't
I think Uncle Denzel's got
Yeah.
You can't put anything past anybody. You can't put anything past anybody.
I can't.
I wouldn't put my hand in the fire for him, but I'd like to hope that.
I don't think so. I feel like they would have come out.
I just said I
You
wouldn't
don't
put
think-
my hand in the fire.
Have you seen what Denzel's looked like for many years?
For many, many years.
Some girl would have come out.
Come on.
Somebody would have come
No.
out.
He will still come out. He will still come out.
Say it again?
What, you saying that because
He's
he's
saying
not
they
nice
can
now?
still come out.
No. I'm saying that,
That
he probably
they-
has.
there are
Had-
some.
Oh,
yeah, side pieces.
His son did an interview on Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
And they were asking about your dad's like Denzel Washington. He's like, you know what, the true star's my mum.
Yeah. I remember that.
Exactly.
When I saw that, that's when I started to be like,
Yeah.
I bet this man is a little bit problematic.
Yeah.
100%.
Even use his, like, I think it's-
Yeah, no, he does. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can talk about pressure all day long. I'm keeping Washington.
I'm going to keep that privilege.
Yeah, man.
100%.
I'm gonna
Go on Breakfast Club, wrap it up, keep your family together, don't let us know what's going on. Messy, bro.
Like, we didn't need to know that. We
Yeah,
didn't need to know
bro.
that.
No. I like that.
I
you
like that he
exposed
was real.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They got the mum, yeah.
Same.
Everyday Washington.
Oh no.
Never that.
All right, guys.
Leave my favorite family alone.
What?
Oh,
Serious? Are you serious?
I love this movie.
I just like
Well,
everybody's
still.
reaction when you say that.
But it's the favorite family thing. It's like they can't be your
not
favourite.
favourite.
Who, the Smiths? Why not?
What?
The authentic.
Okay, wait.
They
We're
are
talking-
actually
we're talking about
absolutely not
families.
honest.
Who's
And they're
the
not
favourite?
authentic.
Who's your favourite celebrity family?
It's the Smiths. They're the most authentic family. They're
They're
not
authentic, right?
They live their life, yeah, and then they tried to introduce us into
I know.
what has actually been going on. And none of us believed or listened to what the hell they were saying, and we've just wrapped it up into something negative. They have been honest the whole time.
They
about their
have
life.
not been
They have.
honest.
You weren't
And the
listening.
only reason why they have been honest at times is
By
because
force.
it was going to be exposed anyway.
Yes.
So they thought, you know what?
They
Let's
wanted
make a
to
TV
force.
show out of
No,
this,
but
and let's get
we
rid
knew
of
that they were in an open relationship before.
No,
the
they
whole-
denied
But no,
it.
they didn't say that was happening.
They didn't
They're in an
think it.
open relationship.
Oh, okay.
They're
'cause-
non-monogamous.
Yes.
So in their marriage, they have
It's them
relationships.
two.
But they've never,
what's the-
what's the-
they've
sorry, what's the
never
difference?
admitted
Because
that.
people ask the wrong question.
What's the
Oh,
difference?
okay. So they can't
So if
clarify.
you ask them, no,
Okay.
why are you
So how? So what? So what do you
Okay.
ask? What do you need to ask? Are you two monogamous?
Yeah, that's a completely different question to are you open? Because open.
No, what's the, yeah, I don't understand the difference between being open and
Nii,
non-monogamous.
nobody understands the difference.
Non-monogamy has different tiers and ways of being non-monogamous, and being open is one of them. So it's like saying, like, are you open? Open is just like, I've met Farah today, and it's like, I'm married, but it's like, it's
Farah,
cool.
not
What else?
Farah.
She's gonna come for you,
Yes,
you know.
yeah,
So
Farah. Serious.
I met Farah the other day, yeah? And it was just on, and it's like, and it's fine. And I don't have to create any form of agreement
Please
anymore.
forgive him.
And then there's people
Forgive
that
him,
have,
please.
you need to create a language. There's others that are monogamish, when there's hierarchies. There's all these different types.
You understand? But the fact of the
But no,
matter
but the
is,
point is,
Why?
because we're
If she's
not
so, if she,
educated
let's talk about
us.
Jada. Yeah,
Oh
if
my
she's
God.
so open and honest, why is her story different from the guys?
Right.
Why is it
they're
different?
coming for her
Their story
when she
should be
has a
exactly the
relationship.
same, is it not?
Exactly.
What's the guy?
August,
The
oh,
But
16-year-old
why
guy?
are you assuming that
August.
she's lying and he's
yeah,
not?
when he's not. Why not?
Because she's
Because you
lied
made- no,
before.
because you
Why?
made him the
Because she's
victim in
lied
your
Everybody's
mind.
lied
before.
before. I'm sure he's lied before.
You made him the victim in your
That's
mind.
not a reason.
No, it's not. I'm not saying he's a victim. What I'm saying is that the whole situation, how it was, that he was like her son's friend. He was sick. It's just not really. It's
No,
not.
but then,
It's not.
but then make that
real
problematic on
weird
its own. That doesn't make a
situation.
system of problematicness. That's
No,
just-
it's
that's
a pattern of
problematic.
behavior.
my thing is,
It's
that
a
the
pattern
Smith
of
family,
behavior.
so your
It
favourite
is.
Family. It's not about the perfect family. It's like who resonates with
I
you.
like
So
it,
you're
man.
saying
They're just
Smith.
real. The kids
Who
came out
else?
open and created this.
Who else? Who else we got?
I don't have a favorite family.
My favorite family is the Carters.
Oh yeah, I actually thought you was going to say the Kardashians. That's what my eyes went like.
I know.
I don't know how you started. You went the car, and I was like, what? brilliant.
I like
the Carters. Yeah,
I really do. I like
So then
Jay-Z and
What if somebody
No,
else was going to say the
no.
Kardashians? Now they can't say it.
No,
All of this
I
judgment.
think Jay should stop cheating on Beyonce. 100%.
Stop.
He needs to stop.
Yeah.
Every album, she's crying. Beyonce, yeah, she's crying. Jay needs to stop cheating. So, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the thing. So,
But that's
like,
amazing truth.
so you know,
He's
he's never gonna stop. So I don't like that. They have
never
different.
gonna
He's
stop.
never gonna
So on this
stop.
new album, she was talking about him.
I haven't heard it.
soul. You won't break my soul.
You know she's talking about him. She's talking
Everybody,
about the man.
Everybody.
She's clearly talking about Jay-Z.
Wait. I'm gonna need
she
you
should be
to be
talking about
specific.
multiple things at one time.
Yeah, but
Do you know what I
Jay-Z's
mean?
included.
Yeah.
That
She
is-
really
That
can.
answer is the opposite of
Yeah.
specific.
No, exactly. But that's
All of
Beyonce.
this is that.
Beyonce.
You know what it is? This
Beyonce.
is a really good exercise in communication, yeah?
Right.
Because people just hear what they want to hear
Oh
anyway,
my
and
God.
they're reading. Because the Smiths have said exactly who they are the whole time.
No,
We didn't
they-
get the timeline,
I
so when
think
we
they
heard it,
Please.
it doesn't go.
Have they
against
said
what
they're
they've
in an
been
open
talking about.
relationship?
Yes.
Have they said they allowed other people into the relationship? The last thing I heard was Jada.
Business.
Okay, then say that then. But that's not what they're saying. They're saying,
Okay, so
oh,
why-
the
why-
rumors that I hear, no, that's not true. We
Yeah.
don't have an open Jada's
Yeah.
blatantly said we
They
don't have an
have.
open
They don't
They
have
have
a
said that.
relationship though.
But she's not clarifying what it
Yeah,
is.
but
But
you-
she's
no,
also
because
not
you
saying
don't
it's none. No,
understand.
no.
We've done the Smiths.
No.
Oh,
Why do
sorry.
you love the Carters?
I just love them because they're a talented family. I think I think Beyonce doesn't want to be open if they are. But anyway,
But
I just love.
Shout out to her for letting Jay-Z be open.
No,
And
I'm not
making a
shouting her
family.
out to them. I'm not doing
Shout out
that.
to freedom.
I feel for her, but I just think that, for the most part, I think Beyonce and Jay-Z in this stage of their life are pretty unproblematic. I really like what they do for the community. I like their kids. I just like everything they stand for at the moment. And I'm pretty happy with them.
The Obamas. Because I love Michelle. More so than Barack Obama, I love Michelle. And I think the girls are growing up really, really well. And, they've had the eye of the public on them in such a different way to your usual celebrity. And I think to be able to raise two children who are kind of like fully aware of themselves and stuff like that, and to go on and to do so well in their education and be black is quite difficult. And Michelle, I feel, is unapologetically black. And I love that. So Michelle Obama and her family.
What if she's had a extramarital? What if she has?
Then do your thing, B.
What? Hello?
Let's just normalize that conversation. Do you think?
Because I don't even know why we're getting on to it. It has to be whether or not they've cheated or not. We were talking about family unit. You just sat here and said everyone's problematic.
Men's crimes.
I didn't say that they weren't. And you're saying crime. You're saying crime. After a minute ago, you were saying that they're in a monogamous relationship.
Everyone has problems, no?
Marriage is based on the
How are
context.
you saying it's a
It's your language, though. It's your language. Really?
As a guest, I'd like to finish my sentence. As a
Not
guest.
really.
As a guest and clarify.
Using
You're
the
not against your
context-
family.
Quicker.
Using the context of Unu's version, I'm saying
No, that was your version.
I think you do what you're doing. If your family forgive you, then it's your family. It's none of our business. But I just want to make sure that we start normalizing healthy conversations. It's one of the things that really frustrate me. Not personally, not deeply, but just like the way we talk about each other sometimes when people in the limelight is so unattainable.
Yeah.
If they do something, there's bare things attributed to what's going on that don't even make sense. These times, we're not scholars in their lives. We have no idea when they didn't announce what August is true, what didn't say true. The fact is, they let people into their marriage. It got
Who are you
released.
talking
It was
about?
a little bit
Will,
problematic.
you got back to the Smiths.
I'm
I see what you done, you know. Serious. I can see what your skill is. I can see. Yes. But we're on the Obamas, though. We're on the Obamas. That's where we are. But we can go back.
That's why it's a private jet.
Serious.
So the point is that once they've been forgiven, and the thing is, I think Jay-Z gave an interesting insight into masculinity in a way. I'm not saying that it's okay, but we're also let into the insights of men at that stage in their life, what they're observing, what they're experiencing. I think it's useful information for wider society in terms of what we're doing in our relationships, because we're all sitting there using those things historically as a benchmark for what good relationships are. And we're like, oh, this is what they're doing. They built this and they're successful and they harmonize this way. And I'm saying, actually, we've learned the truth. in the last 5 to 10 years about what's really going on in some of these relationships, and I think there's value in the information.
I don't know why.
It's our show. What are you doing?
At the moment, I'd like to change my question of the game. You just killed my game, like I said. How do celebrity couples relate to our real lives? Does it emulate everything that Auntie Farah said? I didn't have one, but what she said was perfect about the Obamas.
About the Obamas.
About the Obamas.
If I had to pick, I guess the family that I probably follow the most, because they pop up a lot, it literally would be the Kardashians, but they're not my favorite. But I do see what happens in their family all the time. They're the only ones.
Again, you're not answering the question.
I'm just saying. I just see
you're not answering
the
the question that I proposed as Mark.
I don't have a favorite celebrity fan.
I would have heard your social.
You want to go through?
Delete them.
I see them a lot.
Reconfigure the algorithm.
I don't follow any of them.
Who's your favorite family? Please, I beg.
Yeah, I don't have one.
Okay, it's fine.
No.
So we want to go back. I haven't even told everybody to don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Subscribe to our Patreon. We have 3 tiers where you can get 3 tiers of aunties in different ways. Actual teams. Actual teams.
Sounds like a Russell Service.
Sorry. I'm about to say what OnlyFans page hasn't been pressed live yet. Just don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow us. And all
Just
that
to
stuff.
be clear, we're not doing that.
Okay, we're not doing OnlyFans.
What, an OnlyFans?
Yeah,
No.
100%.
You might make money, you don't know.
What, we're going to be showing toes?
People like toes, man. People like toes.
OnlyFans is, everyone's made it about sex. It's not just about sex.
It is.
OnlyFans. It's the leading.
I'm literally watching something on TV that tells you it's all
Oh,
about
I thought you were literally watching a channel. I'm literally got a channel.
So what OnlyFans are you subscribed to?
Seriously,
I was like, I thought
but
you were
you're
gonna say-
just jumping.
No, but I really think that there's literally a channel that I watch every day.
No.
It's literally about sex.
What?
Oh, no, okay. Let's go back to Uncle Marvin's very serious question. Or his answer to the question that hadn't been answered.
What was the serious question? Okay.
It was, what can we learn from celebrity relationships?
Not a lot, to be honest. Yeah, do you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like at the end of the day, they position themselves to be aspirational, but really and truly, not very few people can actually relate to their actual situations and their actual position in life. It's just for the most part entertainment. That's the thing.
Yeah, they're showing what they want you to see.
Yeah.
Even if it is entertainment, even if it is negative, it's all spin. Like the Carters, you know that all of that cheating that they spoke about in their albums had happened a few years ago. That doesn't mean that they're still not cheating, but that scenario, people who were in the know already knew. And so they'd gone through counseling so they could talk about it. It's not really real.
I think if you're actively looking at celebrity couples to learn something from them, then you're in trouble already, because you're learning from a very curated, what they put out there is exactly what they want you to see. And so if you're just taking all of that in without even thinking about all of the shit that you're not seeing, then you're in trouble.
Yeah. Agreed.
I understand what you're saying, Marvin, about the people's reactions and making whole consensus and arguments based on a window or a glimpse of a conversation, or what they allow us to see. So forming a whole opinion on that, we just don't know. I think there's no limits on. We just don't know unless you're in that room with them in the moment, having an honest one-to-one conversation with them. But is there anyone out there that you actually believe their story?
No, it's not about believing. I think their authenticity normalizes real behaviors in relationships. So the more we see, the more it normalizes the conversation between what's happening in everybody's relationships, not just families and homes, because it's just an extension of it. Yes, maybe Jay-Z's having threesomes with a different type of breed of people, but these are the things that are going on. That's what his
That was the thing, yeah.
Well, hold on, wait. He had a three.
I think it's like
different types of
different
people.
There's
type of
one
breed.
quote where it's like, I want my wife to fuck me like a prostitute. There's another
Okay.
quote where it's like,
Okay.
something about a menage instead of going home or something.
Yeah.
But he had a
So
threesome.
there's references to like potentially what has happened. We still
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah.
What I'm saying is that those things are heavily normalized in people's lives, and we all pretend that these things don't happen. So when I talk about authenticity, where that comes from is in the arts and in celebrity conversation, and generally in our families and our wider circles. And the more we do that, the more we can be more authentic. Because I think currently people are just pretending to be perfect, when in reality things are running.
I think what I would say as well, like with the Carters, is if you are going to learn something, then it would be like they dealt with that situation. So like Nana said, that happened years ago. And so we don't know what type of therapy or whatever that they've been through. And then when they were ready, they were like, we're going to make bank off of all of this. And I think a lot of the time people are online on socials just giving this stuff away for free, just you know, and just putting all of that stuff out there. But they were like, you know, when we put it out there, then we are actually going to profit from it, and I respect that.
Have they talked about the counselling therapy that they went through?
No.
No, that's just an assumption.
Yeah, Jay-Z did.
Jay-Z has
did.
spoken it, but
Beyonce has as well for the album. Yeah, she's mentioned that.
But also, I just think the growth of a successful 50-year-old black man in any realms, and I appreciate being a billionaire is a big scope to success. But like listening to him talk about what he goes through and then his development and how late in life he went through it is of value to other men who will probably deny therapy as an answer. So I say all of those things play a role. And while I've never been sold by any celebrity, I look for those nuggets in terms of what is he doing and what is he facing and how does he approach it, because that's useful information.
Okay, I feel you on that.
I understand that. Moving on to what have you heard, news and culture. Is this for us, you know?
Sorry.
Why is that?
Because we're an hour in.
I know.
Are we?
But it's still fun. This is what we do. Aunties and uncles get together. They're talking and talking. We were talking around the houses and get back to the point 10 hours later. What were we talking about again? But we'll get through a couple of them. Some news and culture stories. I mean, first and foremost, Black Panther 2 trailer dropped.
Now, let me tell you something here. The level of excitement, probably because it's Marvel, but the level of excitement that I had for that is what I wanted to have from the Queen thing.
Yes.
I didn't have that.
I know exactly what you're saying.
Warrior King or
Warrior Queen.
Yeah.
King.
I thought I called Warrior Queen.
Very long.
What's that?
Viola Davis.
Ain't that called Warrior Queen?
Oh, it's my brain. Sorry. Oh, yeah, brain fog.
Anyway, that's on there.
Yeah.
That's what I thought I was gonna have when I saw that trailer, and I saw it and I was like, okay, intrigued, blah blah blah. But the Black Panther trailer, I was like, whoa,
Next quality, isn't it?
Yes.
this looks like it's gonna be epic. I'm gonna
The Woman King.
Woman
I know,
King,
that's
that's
it.
it.
Yeah.
The Woman King.
I'm on the edge of my seat already. Can't wait for it. Like I can't wait. And I think how they're gonna handle Chadwick Boseman's passing is gonna be good. Did you think it was set after the blip?
Yeah,
It is.
But I mean, like during, like before they came back.
No.
I think they're gonna do
No.
Because I was wondering, like, how are they?
Because she
doing
said
that?
thought it was
she's lost
further.
half of her
She
family.
lost half her
Yeah.
family. So I was like, I
Yeah.
wonder
No, she
if
said
it's
all
like-
of her family.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, I wonder if it's that, but I don't know. We'll see. I just
I'm
can't
thinking
know.
about them posting from Chadwick Boseman's actual Twitter page.
But who
They
did
must
it?
have.
Who
They must have the
authorised it? So-
family
There was like a
involvement.
long thread, and they had a lot of engagement agreeing with them, saying that can you not do this? That people's dead accounts should be left alone. And I was just like, I personally was like, clearly the family have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
The
that
family
thing
are
of
going to be
people not-
managing it.
Yeah.
I just think
People are fickle. You
fans
feel
are
like that the
just-
message is wife.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, there's
It's
people
weird.
to like the people who approve that.
But they
Exactly, because they're so respectful of everything about him. They're not just going to start
just
doing stuff.
I don't know. I got a little emotional.
Yeah,
watching
sure.
it. Like
Definitely.
seriously,
Reaction.
like I'm really excited to see it, but I'm also not ready. Do you know what I mean? Because I just think it's just going to bring up a lot and stuff, and like what he meant and what the kind of character means to the culture and all that kind of stuff. I think it's just, it's just going to be a lot. Like I'm a super Marvel fan, so I'm really interested in how they handle it. I hope it's tasteful. It seems like it from the
Looks like it
trailer.
will be.
Looks like it.
But you never know. Hopefully they get all the accents right. I think.
That's
They
not
never,
gonna
they
happen.
never do. They never will.
I'm-
They never do.
I'm-
Yeah.
I'm really
I've accepted
hoping-
that.
Do you guys think it's gonna be
As
better or as good?
it
No.
looks like it from the trailer, it looks like it'd be better and more of a story.
Yeah.
I don't.
But
Well,
I don't know.
That's the issue I have, because I feel like how the story is going to feed into the wider story
Yeah.
of Phase 4 and then going into 5 and 6. That's what I'm really interested in.
Yeah.
So if it like, do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if it's like super contained, don't want to spoil it for anyone. But last 4 was, I'm not really interested in that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I
Okay.
mean? Because it was just
stand out.
short. Like, do you know what I mean? Like it just didn't.
No,
It didn't
they-
bang.
They actually have more content to make a real film and a story in it.
Yeah.
So I think the story could be
comments.
better, but I don't think the story is what people really enjoyed. And people just want to feel good about blackness, really, when they go and see that. And it's a balance, isn't it? Like, yes, you want to honor those things, but you don't want to get so lost in honoring that you don't create something that's going to feel good.
Yeah.
That film made everyone feel good. People went to see 4, 5, 6, 7 times. And you won't see it 4, 5, 6, 7 times if it's just a really good tribute to him. And also, Daniel Kaluuya's not in there anymore. Obviously, Forrest Whitaker died. There's a lot of people from the first one that didn't make it.
But we've got a good additions. Michaela Cole's in
Yeah.
there. Do you know what
And
I
Dennis
mean?
I
Tahani,
think-
he reprises
yeah.
his role as well.
I think from a story point of view, this is what happens in Marvel films. The first story is like the introduction to the person, and then the second story is like
Origin.
the real, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like
normally the first is not good. Like
usually, but I think in Black Panther they done a pretty good start. Do you know what I mean?
After the calm, everything after the storm and everyone calmed down, there have been a lot more critical conversations about the first film. When everyone's like, okay, there's these bits and bits that are not right, but that's just what it's gonna. There's always gonna be critique. The bigger picture is that there's a wonderful moment. I want to say a sentence, but it's probably not worth it. Yeah, it's fine.
No, say it.
Say with your chest.
I don't think you can make a collective of black people happy.
Ever?
No, you can't.
No, I agree. 100%.
There's so disparate in terms of how they feel about things. Somebody would do a thought piece on something that's really pure and simple. And I realize that the kind of how people process things is always really, really interesting.
But I'm okay with that. We don't all need to agree.
No, it's not even that. It's just like it's a film. It is what it is. So doing a deep think piece about every part of it, it's just like I'm pulling it apart.
But I think that's what people do.
You're right.
It's one of them ones where I get annoyed at certain think pieces and certain reactions, but it is the fact. The matter is, people can have an opinion about everything. There's just something. Someone like this sesame snap is here. Why? And then you just do the whole thing. Why? But someone else is going to like this. The sugar,
exactly. Slavery food,
and me eating it means I'm continuing the seeds.
Of slavery.
Exactly.
All right, fair enough.
And that is the problem with the black woman.
Can you introduce us who you are, please?
Yeah, you know, I was just
we don't know who you are.
The
guy that just said black women are problematic.
Why would you now make me introduce myself?
Because you made yourself known. You did this.
Okay.
You did this.
I am Uncle Michael Harrison and Marvyn's cousin.
And again.
I'm Uncle Nii.
And
how do you want me to introduce myself?
I mean, who you are, what you do, and why you're here. Where you come from.
My name is Uncle Nii. I'm a voiceover artist and filmmaker, and I'm married to Aunty Nana, which is why I'm here. That's all she was waiting for. That's all she was waiting for. That's what she just wanted me to say.
That's not only why
she literally did that. When he came and asked my mum, like, we're gonna get married, like I want to marry. That's exactly what my mum did.
That was the first red flag, and I ignored it.
She literally like squealed. You're not selling me right when you guys do that, because it alludes to I'm happy that somebody is taking you away from me.
Thank God.
So basically, the red flags were there from the start.
So now that you're both here, can we talk about this monogamy episode that you came up with? I still didn't get to see it. Can we talk about it?
Monogamy? Listen, there's questions that we
what monogamy episode?
Wait, what?
What monogamy?
Wait, what?
I was like, what? Send it to me. I want to listen to this.
I wouldn't.
It never came.
My theory about monogamy.
What's your theory?
You carry on with your.
No, what's your theory? What's your theory?
Oh, I remember this.
Have you mentioned it before?
Yeah.
Oh, what was it? Go on.
My theory that I think I brought it to him first when I was thinking about it.
Okay.
That why are you getting so excited?
So you know that she doesn't send nudes.
She doesn't send nudes. It's a moot point.
I send new types. You have to be very.
I'm only here.
Honestly,
I'm only here in the hope that I'm going to get some nudes after this.
I've been trying. Honestly, we're rooting for you. We've been encouraging, suggesting. You know,
man can't get no nudes. Look how long I've been in this and I can't get no nudes.
He wants full frontal, babe.
I've got a full frontal weave. I've got that.
Can you give us some monogamy before we move on?
All right. So my theory on monogamy, I'm still padding it out, but what I think is monogamy is a scam.
Yeah, it's a scam.
And I think monogamy is a scam because it absolutely favors men.
Yeah.
The majority of men do not have the qualities biologically and personality-wise to actually effectively attract
not all
women.
Men.
I'm saying
she didn't say all.
I didn't say all.
She said majority.
She said majority. When you're looking at stats, the majority of them. So, in the olden times when we were in communities where women were running things, like let's say you take a Pride Alliance, like you only need one male and he can service lots of women because biologically he has the stuff that makes good offspring. So to dupe us into thinking like we all need a man, men came up with monogamy so that they could still have access to regular sex. And so women think we actually need to have a husband, but really husbands need wives, because if you didn't make it be like we had to be in these monogamous relationships, loads of you would not have access to any women.
I agree.
There we go.
Uncle Nii.
See, I agree, but I think where your theory falls down is if you speak to the majority of married men and ask them if they're getting regular sex, they will tell you that they're not.
But
So therefore,
if you're
what
one
are
male,
where you're not benefiting from being monogamous, because you're like, oh, yeah, I'm monogamous, got one woman. Yeah, bring on the pum pum. Wait, where's the pum pum? And then
you'll get it from time to time. It's better than nothing, and you have access to have children.
Monogamy is just control, really.
It's control.
Do you know what I mean?
And I think there's what's that conversation where it's a red pill thought that women aren't built to have handle more than one man because they
will fall in love.
Yeah, we'll fall in love
with all of them.
And then it's the way we're made. Our genetic makeup means we can't take more than one man. It's ridiculous.
It's nonsense.
It is control. Monogamy is control.
I agree. We should end it.
But
we should end it.
We should end it there.
No,
So,
expand on that. Expand on that, Marvyn.
Expand on your reason to end it. I feel like that was a bit controlling. I
Patriarchal.
thought that was controlling us.
The role of men.
You wanted to talk about the Smith 14 times around. I want to talk about monogamy longer. Do not end it.
She said. So the point is that it is very patriarchal and it's very much designed around men's gifts and limitations. And I think really, like, once you create that unit, the whole thing is about what is the man willing to create. And then women have children, and then you kind of create this cohabited unit of like limitation. I just think it's like you can be way more powerful in a non-monogamous environment, but it's unworkable in this current society because of how much monogamy is perpetuated as the default way to do things.
Yes.
So people have never expressed. So I have a very secure attachment style. I did a test and it came out 3 times. And in that testing of secure attachment, it's not necessarily.
What's that test?
I have follow-up questions.
Anyway, we have other questions. Go on.
I'll send that to you.
I want to do it now.
The different types of attachment, it's not good or bad. So it's not like secure attachment is the most aspirational,
Right.
even though that's how it's been sold. But it just means that you need to find someone that is able to connect with you how you like to be attached to them.
Right.
And the more information you have on that, the better. If that then means that you end up in a monogamous relationship, that's perfectly fine. But also going into this default relationship escalator of like, we go on a date, we go in a relationship, then we have sex, and then we get married, then we have a child, then we buy a house, then we get a car. Then, like that whole escalator does not create happiness and sustainability. And so it also doesn't take into account any individual circumstances of two people that are in it.
Yeah.
So you have people who are emotionally not prepared for monogamy, emotionally not able to be what is traditionally considered to be a wife or a husband, trying to be those things because that's what they think they have to do.
Yeah.
So all it really is that when you start a relationship, you start from ground zero and you build it based on who you are. But to do that, you have to actually know who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
Thank you.
Yes, I totally agree. But the scam is out there. Monogamy as a
Yeah.
rule of thumb is a scam.
People
I
are
know
trapping
yourself,
people,
Bunny.
and men and women do is they trap people with this idea of security. But in reality, like no one can make you secure other than yourself. So
Right.
when you give that over to somebody else and it doesn't come,
Can I just say the Smiths said that?
What?
About,
did they?
yeah.
There you go. So
You're
it's
just
clearly
feeding
they're icons.
You're feeding into it.
No.
You're not helping.
Well, they did say it. They did say it. They learned when they went on their journey of exploration.
The one
Yeah.
thing
They
is,
learned that.
is that like I don't necessarily understand relationships. I'm not far from a relationship expert as anyone ever is. When I apply my values to the situation of a relationship, anything that's automated is unworkable. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
But when you build it from scratch, you start seeing actually how you can coexist with somebody in a really peaceful way. But you've got to design it in the image of who you are, and it's that simple.
I'd like to know what that is, like how people would explore that. Because if it is like a woman, like, you know what, I can't deal with just one of you. I need multiple. And what man would be ready for that? For example, it's just like it's so against the grain.
Obviously, people do find them. People do find their people, but it's more. I think it's how you work if you're going to be working broadly in society,
Yeah.
and you're like,
And
I
how
don't
to
want to
explain
be
that.
in that. Like,
Yeah.
how do you navigate without people being like you're weird or ostracizing you? It's those things that it's like, because it's sold to us that you should be monogamous. It's a scam when you want to go outside of it, because then you're ostracized. It's like you're then on the fringe. Like then I have an alternative lifestyle, and it shouldn't be that way, because it only benefits men, as I see it at this moment in time.
Thank you. How did we get there?
He asked because he wanted the episode.
Because I never got it, but that was a very good episode. That's not actually where I thought you was going. So it was even more
Where did you think she was going?
I don't know.
Auntie
Who
Farah.
did you think I wanted out? He wanted to go
Let's
somewhere.
discuss it on the podcast together. How do you feel about your monogamous marriage?
Auntie Farah, let's go.
So my culture story is in the media this week, people were up in arms about Chris Brown charging $1,000 for meet and greets, right? Now, I will say this. There are celebrities. Lady Gaga charges $2,000. Ariana Grande a few years ago was charging $800. So he's not the first, he won't be the last. But my question to you is, how much would you be willing to pay to meet your favorite celebrity in a meet and greet?
May.
I don't know if I could pay.
Nothing.
I don't know what am I getting from that.
There's
It's just a
nobody.
picture, isn't it?
No, but you get the concert, you get great seats, you get the concert, and then you meet them after. So it's not just like I'm paying $1,000 to go see like stand next to him and have some like prom picture. It's the whole package, which again was not explained, but it is like the package.
There's nobody on this earth.
1,000.
There's nobody on this earth that would do that.
If I had $1,000 to spare, then I'd pay more for. I think it'd be the whole experience. And what is that experience again? Front row or box seats, or the environment, the after party. I'd need a lot to go into that package, and to meet that meeting. I mean, the annoying if you pay all of that, then we've got a meeting with Chris Brown because of your business, the work that you do is long. You could have that for free. So that picture, I'm too old for that. But if I got a big package and you get to meet them as part of the package, and the package is really worth the grand, I'd need more than that just to stand next to anybody.
To the uninitiated, that's an incredible opportunity. £1,000 is workable. I think if someone means something to you, if you celebrate someone and idolize them, you have a chance to connect to them for $1,000. It's a workable amount.
It's a workable amount.
And you've seen it. You've been to the concert. You've enjoyed.
That picture probably means so much to you. Life is about joy. I spend way more than that traveling to South Africa and back. So as far as I'm concerned, if it means that much to me, $1,000.
Is there anybody there?
No, I wouldn't know.
Maybe Prince.
Yeah, dead or alive.
I still
1,000 to meet Prince.
I don't know.
Take a picture
I
with him.
could have done that, and I didn't. So I guess not.
But then, don't those people feel bumped? Like you're paying £1,000 to get a picture that 100 other people have got as well. Like,
but then
it's about you.
100,000 people have.
It's not special though.
It's about creating it's special to you because it's like creating a feeling. Thousands of people go travel to a destination or an artifact or something, memorial site all the time, and we go what it means to us. We even go to some of those places and there's like 1,000 people there, and it's still special to us.
But
so,
if you are somewhere and then you see Chris Brown and you're like, oh my gosh, you're my hero, can I get a picture? Take the picture. That picture's special. But I'm just looking at that picture thinking, you got £1,000 to hug you, you know? Like that's not special.
Concert.
But it's not just the hugging. Like I said, it's the whole package. You get to, you get to go to
his music. I can hear it online for free.
And it's not about Chris Brown. It's about anybody. So dead or alive. Like if Biggie was still alive, and I got to go to a concert, and then I got to like spend 15 minutes in his time asking him questions, taking a picture. That's special.
How much is the ticket without the meet and greet?
But it depends. Concert tickets can range from
it can go up.
I was gonna say
to like 500, 600. It depends where
I'm
you're
quite
sitting.
I'm quite happy
on the
paying
day
the
you're
50.
going.
Quite happy paying the
Okay,
50.
right. So I'm a Beyonce fan, and I have in the past paid for my whole team to go VIP to Beyonce.
Yeah.
And I've taken my niece and nephew VIP to Beyonce and my best friend. And
Are you humble bragging? Are you saying that we're going to get taken too?
no,
I was waiting for the.
but I'm just saying, like, I was just but I'm just saying, I've spent a lot of money having those experiences because like it means something to us. Do you know what I mean? Like I think experiences are better than things. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm definitely all about that and creating something special. So I don't think I would do that now, not that amount, because I think like in my line of work, I could probably get there anyway. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, I'm not totally against it. And I think what you're saying is true. Rather like that, at that point, it was like, okay, how can I get access? And that was the easiest way. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? And it was quick and we had a great time and those are core memories. So like,
we paid to go internationally.
This is what I was going to
Priceless.
say. We've travelled to go and see people that we
Mm.
really want to see.
Yeah.
And those experiences are like amazing. So I think that if that's what you're going for, and to me, the super fans that are paying for this,
Yeah.
that's what they're going for.
Yeah.
And I don't see any reason why the celebrities that are charging £2,000, $450, whatever it is, that's what they valued it at. That's what they want to do. I
Mate.
don't think they should be poked fun at because they want to do it.
No, I think-
People like cussing Chris Brown though.
Yeah, they do.
He
Yeah.
always gets some. He
Yeah.
can do anything, and somebody's gonna be like, "Oh, this
Yeah.
Chris Brown." It's like they
But
like.
anyway, as
having
a
a go at it.
person in the public eye as well, is like protecting yourself from the crazy. So
But that's
it
it
doesn't
too.
always filter them out. But imagine you're meeting so many people, you don't know what their background, their spirit, their aura is. There has to be a price point.
Yeah.
It doesn't guarantee the nuts won't
look
get
at
you.
even
but still, man.
Mary J when she done that documentary.
Exactly.
Like literally, hers is a factory.
It is.
Do you know what I mean?
Really?
Yeah, it's
And
not
it was
even
actually-
quality time.
It's not quality
It's what you're
time
talking
at
about.
all.
Yeah,
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 it's
yeah.
not quality.
It's like, hi,
It's
picture,
hi,
bye.
Someone's like, you're my greatest idol. Yeah,
Yeah.
hi, bye.
Oh.
Yeah.
Those type of artists, that must be really emotionally draining. To have
Yeah.
to
Yes.
from the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
Oh.
that's probably the only
It's a
way
lot.
you can survive it, to be honest.
I don't
Yeah.
have a problem with
I
people
don't-
charging.
yeah.
I
No,
don't-
you got to charge.
You've got to.
And then also as well, like for them, it's just like so many as an artist, so many people are eating off you all the time.
Mhm.
If that money goes back into my pocket, I'm gonna take it.
Yeah. And I bet
100%.
That is
that's
true.
looking
Oh,
at
yeah,
from a
it's true,
logistical
isn't
point
it?
of view, they have to be screened. Who's doing that? There's a whole
Yeah.
there's gonna be a whole separate team that manages meet and greets.
Yeah.
Mm.
That £1,000, 2,000, whatever it is not going directly to the artist.
He's probably seeing
Like,
£80.
That's what I'm saying.
It's not even that much.
So-
Thousands.
It really isn't
Much.
actually.
Thousands of them.
And
And
take away the
especially-
concert ticket as well. It's not.
Chris Brown, I would say, because this is the
I
first
think
year
more.
he's back. Do you know what I mean? Like, well, back in the
people haven't
UK
seen him for
or
like 15 years.
first time in the
Yeah,
UK?
it's the first time he was back in the UK.
He's back in the UK. Yeah. So yeah.
The thing is, it's just problematic, and no one will ever be fully peaceful about the things that he does. It'll cause
Yeah.
way more animosity, and it's just the price of the life that he had.
Auntie Nana.
My bun. Okay, so as we're all here as aunties and uncles, I just wanted to get some personal experiences from you guys. I guess my biggest auntie experience was with my nephew, kind of getting involved with selling drugs and going on county lines, although they call it conch now. But when he was up in the thick of it, it was like a proper traumatic time for my family. And yeah, just what you guys think we as the collective village can really do to help our families when things like this like comes up. It doesn't have to be as extreme as like selling drugs, but just when you have a niece or nephew and they're going off the rails, what's the best way for the auntie and uncles to be a safe haven? That's the discussion.
For me, the work starts early, and like it's not a thing you can do later on when the thing is happening. It's something you start really, really early in their lives, and when you show up in their lives, you'll get signs. Like for me, I think one thing I observed about parenting, bearing in mind my children are 4 and 6. You know, my nephew is a 16-year-old, and I listen to him, and I see where he says something problematic to me. I watch shows, but something problematic to me, and I didn't challenge it because I realized that I didn't have the proximity at the time to go and take him on the journey of what he needed to know and understand. And like, if you want to play that role, you've got to start early. Later on in life, you can leave your door open, but really by that time they've made a decision of who they want to be. And you can leave the door open and say, there's the breadcrumbs to come walk in my door at any time. And there's space for you, and I love you, and da-da-da-da-da. But what I remember when I was 16, I needed to exercise my understanding at that time in completion before I was ready to move on. All my uncles, my mum did one sick intervention one Saturday, hot Saturday as hell, and every single aunt, uncle, cousin, everyone that's older than me turned up. And I was sent to my room first, and then there was some sort of meeting downstairs.
Yeah.
And I got called down, and then one by one, I'd sit on the stairs, and they'd be like, "Oh, so I've heard that you were arrested that one time." What's going on? And you tell the story, like, "Well, you know, you go to school," and then do all of that. And then, you know, one of my aunts even made me cry because one of my aunts, Aunty Valerie, she's like a matriarch, but she's just so, everything is ancestors.
Okay.
It's that level straight away. It's like, you're late, the ancestors, it's like straight away. But she has that gravitas, and so she was just disappointed, and that's what landed. Like, one of those conversations will land with you. That's a really dope intervention, but you need proximity to be able to do that, because young adults aren't listening to people in like safe houses and marriages and Range Rovers about what it is like to be out on the street and what other things they can be doing. You need proximity. So my lesson is, anyone that I care for, I have to show up in their lives really powerfully consistent.
Yeah, I've got quite a lot of nieces and nephews, and my family were like really quite close. And I think I've got nieces now who are in their early 20s and in their early 30s. And I think the reason why they come to me and I have such great relationships with them is because I was around, and I'm trying to be around for my other nieces and nephews as well. And like my daughter as well, so that they just know that they can go to other people for different types of advice. And there's been times when my niece has come to me, it might be like she doesn't know what to do in terms of a job that's coming up, or if she wants to continue down a certain path in her education, or just like talking about relationships and those sort of things. And hearing it from an auntie or an uncle is a lot different to having those conversations with your parents. There's things that she can say to me freely, and I'll give her like real solid advice that she couldn't say to my sister. And that's fine, you know, that's what I'm there for. But equally, then with the younger ones, it's like, don't fuck with my sister because I'll break your back. So it's kind of like having that kind of balance and being there for them. But I really truly value the relationships that I've got with my nieces and my nephews. And I think that's partly because I was quite close with my aunt growing up, and she, you know, would put pepper in your skin if you fucked up. But she was also really, really lovely as well. And I just wanted to have that relationship with my nieces and nephews. I think it's important. It's important for them to have external people outside of their mum and their dad, because you don't really want to talk to your parents about certain things when you're growing up. But it's important for them to have someone in the family who's going to give them real advice rather than someone on the street. I agree with you. You've got to be there from early.
Yeah, I agree too. I think it's just so naturalized in my family. It's quite big, but like I think I've been an aunt since I was born. You know what I mean? So it's just like looking after, you know, nieces and nephews, cousins, all that kind of stuff. It's just like absolutely normalized. And I do think it starts early on. I think I was particularly, and I am particularly, like very real, very open, very honest. I have boundaries though. I'm probably the most strictest, but at the same time, you're probably going to get the most coolest experiences. Do you know what I mean? At the same time. So, but definitely being consistent and having boundaries, and kind of like for the, you know, the ones in the family that don't necessarily have that consistency, I am always consistent. I'm always reliable no matter what. And putting them first, you know what I mean? So even though over the years, when I guess help grow these children, literally, like it doesn't matter what my job is, it doesn't matter what the responsibility is. If X has a show at school and no one's going to be there, I am there 100%. Like everything revolved around them, for sure. And that still kind of continues today. So yeah, it's just, I don't know, it just gives me so much joy being an aunt. Do you know what I mean? I don't know what the original question was actually.
I've lost in that as well.
But yeah, I really enjoy it.
What was the original? Like what?
Just what's your experiences? What brings you joy as well as being an auntie, but also how do you show up effectively?
I guess my biggest moment. Well, actually, my first niece, Charisse, my older sister's daughter, when she was like my little bubba, and I used to babysit her a lot and look after her a lot. So that was my first kind of introduction into being responsible for another human being. That's not my human being, but important part of my family, and I really cherished that role. And it's that pride when you feel that someone really loves you and really depends on you. I mean, I wasn't a mother then, so that was my first experience. Like she would only stop crying with me, apart from her mum. It's that whole, she was a terror. Charisse, my God. She, like, if you moved when you put her to sleep, then that was a wrap. You had to stay with her. But we had that really good bond, and actually there was a long space because family issues. And then reconnecting with her and my nephew in later life, and as they mature, she's quite similar to me, which I love. It's just genetics, you can't mess with genetics. So I love the relationship we have, and she'll talk to me, and she's quite open and honest with me, and she's a mini me, actually, a tall mini me. And later on, my sister who passed away, stepping in for while she was going through her mental health issues, and my niece coming to live with me and being there for the youngers, and then coming and literally stay with me a lot. My niece lived with me. The youngest, she got two younger brothers and sisters. They came on pretty much every weekend, and though it was very difficult, they were traumatized. They had behavioral issues as a result of growing up in that kind of dynamic. It was difficult. It was rough, but it's coming through the other side after my sister passed, helping them grow, being there for them now, and the way that they, you know, my nephew when he goes through his stuff, he'll just give me the black and white. And he's quite real with me, and sometimes it's like it's a bit stressful because like the same things I just want to bury. And it is that thing of like being present. Like, can I give you enough support? If I'm going to tell you that this is wrong, can I be there for you? I'm not sure, but I try. We're very real. When you tell me everything, I'll tell him what he wants. He went through a very traumatic situation recently, and the way I went down to see him, we had a conversation, and it was just, I don't know. I just like being there. I love the fact that I can be there, not to replace my sister, but they've got someone, because it was only me and my sister. She had no other siblings, and for technicality, she's my half sister, so there was no one else. So the fact that they've got someone where I can see they really miss their mum, and I hope that I fill that gap in some type of way, in that respect. And I think it's important. I show up for them. I'm at the end of the phone. My lifestyle is very busy, so sometimes I do feel guilty that I can't be there on demand for them. But then I have to stop that, because it's like, you know, I'm a mother, I've got stuff going on and stuff like that. But I'm at the end of the phone, and if they really need me, like when my nephew had this situation, down there in a heartbeat.
Yeah, double guilt.
Like kind of going back to Seren. So I had a phone conversation with him a couple of weeks ago, and I came off the phone and I cried, because it was the growth. So like where we were, how many years ago was it?
3. No, maybe 2.
No.
It's 3 years.
Was it 3?
It was like 2018 maybe. 2018 maybe. Anyway,
Okay.
and it was like, even Marvyn, you'll know, because like at the time, like I'm messaging
on everybody.
I'm like, you know, we were just like getting the village involved sort of thing. And he came and we went on this one trip with my friend Colin to Ipswich, and Colin kind of took him around Ipswich, so he does property, so he's like showing him all of this stuff, and he really got him to kind of open up and start talking about the stuff that he was doing at the time, it was funny, because it was like he pulled over the car and he was like, all right, so I've told you my business, you tell me yours. And then Seren kind of looked at me like, hang on, my uncle's in the back, I can't. And I was like, speak, you know. And then he started to just, and it was listening to him talking about what he was doing. In that moment, I wanted to cry, because I'm just like, how did we get here?
How'd you miss it?
Yeah, how, you know? And then I took him to another friend, Des, who does like all Forex trading, and then he started getting into that. And we went through so much. So anyway, fast forward to a couple of weeks ago, we're on this phone call. So Seren's in Ghana now, and he went to Ghana on his own volition. We didn't do the, you're going on holiday.
Yeah, he was too old to ship anyway.
He was just like, I'm going to Ghana. And so he's been in Ghana, and now he's studying in Ghana. And we just had this conversation, and it was just like, I think the only word I can use is just magical, because it was like, he's asking me stuff about my dreams and this, that, and the other, and he's like giving me advice, you know. And then he ended it like, and that's the thing that made me cry, where he was just talking about of like, you know, like, I think you're like a really good father and this, that, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, yeah, anyway, I'm tired, you know. I'm gonna come off the phone now. And it came off the phone, and the tears were just streaming down my face. And I was just like, that was so, it felt like if that was a film, that was the closing scene of the film. And it was just like, all right, you're good. And now I just can't wait to see you again. And I know that and it's one of the things I said to him as well. I was like, I know you're there in Ghana, and I know that you feel like you have something to prove to be like to everybody back home of like, look what I've done, look what I've done. I was like, don't ever put that pressure on yourselves, like, because, and you know, I don't want to say too much of his business, but we spoke so much about kind of being alone and being lonely and whatever. But it was just so magical having this conversation with him, and I wish, but you know, everything happens the way it happens. But I wish, looking back, when we just thought he was this, and he was like a really studious boy, but quite quiet. And I just wish that we picked up on the signs and in, you know, like you don't, because what happened is that he was so studious, you just thought, let him get on with it.
Okay.
Let him get on with it. And
that struck me actually, what Marvyn said about being there from early, but it's also paying attention
Yeah.
closely,
Mm.
because you can't always spot when they're going. It's not so obvious until they're kind of in it. It was like little things, like really being very quiet. And then the school calling up and them not really knowing, like, well, not saying exactly like why he's not handing in homework. It's just a bit like he just doesn't do his homework. But I guess there's still that guilt. Like, was we paying attention enough? Like, should we have done more, really, so that he didn't have to go on this crazy journey? But I guess that's his life
That's
story.
his journey,
But yeah, there's double guilt. It's that thing. It's like mummy guilt, but then it's like I have auntie guilt as well. Like, how could you be? You could have been more in his life and more around, and more present. It's all of that.
It's hard though. It is
It
hard.
is. When you got your own
stuff
life.
going on.
Yeah.
As I'm saying, like I wish I could be. It's being the mother for my nieces and nephew, because they've lost their mum, and I know how that impacts people. I know how it impacted them in a great way. But I have to let myself go because I've got a child to raise as well, and we live across London from each other, not too far. It's accessible, and then life is real. But you just have to be. They have to be able to get hold of you. I think that's the important thing. That's the commitment that you have to make. Or the concession you have to make. They have to be able to get hold of you.
Yeah, definitely.
In a time of crisis, at the very, very least, I think, if you're going to position yourself as that in that role as the auntie uncle that your niece and nephews can call on.
Definitely.
This is like a quite a big angel, but like one of the things that I realized with young people who are challenged in that way is that like our community is really bad at like talking about neurodivergent people and children. And so when they're presenting themselves, when their behaviors are different, we don't know, and also don't even necessarily believe that something is bigger than that. It's just like, you've chosen to do this, and why are you doing this? And like I only found out I was ADHD like a year ago, and so. But then when I started reading it and looking into it, when I mean literally my lived experience is categorized in the diagnosis of what it is.
Oh, really?
Yes, and my ability to work, I can work 3 months without a blink. I can just keep going. And if I'm inspired, I go off on a whole thing. And this is why every time I can build such big and complex businesses and structures, is because if I'm inspired and if I'm really moved by something, I will find an answer. But also my burnout is wild. And so it can also then destroy the thing as well. So if I'm burnt out, I'm willing to implode to like get breaks.
Yeah.
And so there's little things about that, and I realized that happened throughout my whole development. And so I'll be amazing at maths, but then like things like reading, I don't read. Like in my brain feels like it's going to explode if I have to read a book. There's little things that patterns, and so my whole family are looking at me like, in one sense, I'm courageous enough to go and stand in a room full of like people in Hackney, gangsters or whatever, and tell them how I honestly feel and don't give too much. But I also wanted to tell my mum what's happened outside in the street and be like, look, this is what's going on. This is wild.
Yeah.
But like, if you don't understand where that honesty is coming from and the integrity is coming from, then you can just dismiss it very, very easily. So it's incredibly important that us as family, extended families, are aware of what neurodivergent people, how they can present themselves and what those things are. Because if you did misdiagnose, you will make something that's really, really simple, heavily Machiavellian, and then you end up disconnecting from them because you believe they're doing it intentionally.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I agree with what you're saying. I wonder, we say this a lot in our community, that we're really bad at talking about stuff, but I think there's stuff that we just don't know, and there's a lot more things that are coming to the forefront about ADHD and about other neurodivergent differences, and just generally we're talking more and sharing more. So I don't know, I sometimes struggle when people say that we have a problem with it. I think there's a lack of information.
I think it's generational as well.
And it's generational.
It's probably
Maybe I'm just removing the blame a little bit.
We're probably bad at it because we don't know.
Yeah.
But if someone presents that information to you, it's the same thing as someone says I have cancer. The same thing as someone says I've been sexually assaulted. We have a big challenge. I want to just make it blackness. I'll say there's a big challenge in communities in taking that information and doing something powerful.
Yeah, I understand.
And so what it is this kind of like, oh no, there's probably a mistake and a miscommunication.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that. Okay, yeah.
And I think most of it is that there's still a taboo about the mind. They don't understand it.
Right.
And so they confuse neurodivergent with like mental health, and they feel like, also, what are you, bipolar? Are you schizophrenic? It's like, no, they're two completely different realms of things. And so that lack of knowledge and how that is perforated inside our families means that many people that are neurodivergent disappear and they hide certain parts of their life because they can't explain it to you either. So when you start getting your children tested and you start taking your children into therapy, I just think there's a really important thing to do that regardless, because you don't know.
That's
and
quite
like,
interesting.
very, very simply just taking them in and doing a round of sessions, like around for me is 6 sessions, and just letting them express themselves, seeing what themes come out. Then you might discover some things about your children that are really, really helpful to you.
Yeah.
But we almost feel like it's a pry, or it's like someone that's looking and telling us that we're bad parents. It's like there's things you just won't know and you will never see. You weren't invited into. So I think it's really important.
I think that's super interesting. I think in our family we kind of do that naturally, just because there are so many neurodivergent people in our family anyway, and like because our culture is much closer to our nieces and nephews' culture, we can recognize the signs. Do you know what I mean? So it's just like this whole concept. Well, we were brought up with like, oh, you have to do well in school, like no matter what, and kind of thing. It's just that kind of just reject that. It's just that really and truly, are you doing your best? Are you trying? This might not be for you. Teachers don't know everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is, do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Try this
That's how I
different
did.
approach. We're going to do this educational piece outside of the class setting. Maybe you come and work with me for a week to
Yeah.
see how that
Yeah,
runs.
exactly.
Can you sell anything? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we're always looking for other interests if they seem to be, I'm using inverted commas, lacking anywhere kind of thing. Because I think like sometimes these schools and institutions, they love to put all these labels on, you know, these young people and are not a support system to them at all kind of thing. So what we try to do, definitely like 100% me and my brother, is, you know, do you know what I mean? Just challenge that always. And, you know, it doesn't, can be tricky because sometimes, like, you know, with some of the kids, the other parent doesn't necessarily think that the same way. Do you know what I mean? But they always know that they can try a different approach with definitely either one of us.
Yeah, I think
You
that's interesting because that's why I said it's generational. Because most definitely, our generation, we're more in tune with that. We're closer to it, like you said. But if you'd have come to like our parents or our grandparents with the same things, they would have been telling you some different type of thing.
Yeah.
They would have been like, no, you need to just try. This is what you're supposed to do. What do you mean you're not doing that? You're meant to do that. That's what the rules are.
Yeah.
You know, that's
work twice as hard.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
You don't talk about your feelings in the same sort of way. You're not, you know, it wasn't looked at in that way. But I definitely believe that even what you said resonates with me a lot because those are the conversations I have with my nieces. Those are the conversations I have with my godchildren. University isn't for everybody.
Yeah.
Are you happy doing this? Only do this if it makes you happy. Don't do it because you think you have to. You don't have to live up to anybody's expectations apart from your own. That's it.
I just
100%.
hadn't ever really thought about testing. That's really like, I put it in a box of, you know, like for, I guess you're seeing signs of dyslexia, that you're like, they could be dyslexic, or it's like they need a statement. That's how I always thought of testing, not just to see that. I always say I think I'm probably neurodivergent, but that's for myself. I hadn't even thought about the kids.
Yeah,
I think that's really interesting.
The sickest thing is that when you're neurodivergent, you have a gift, and then what ends up happening is people ask fish to climb trees.
Yeah.
And then you suppress your gift to try and appear normal.
Exactly.
Right.
So some of my favorite people are neurodivergent. When I sit down with them, I can spot it immediately and start seeing the behaviors. But then because I am so sensitive and aware of them adjusting themselves for me.
Yeah.
And one of the really good examples, I'll never forget, like when I was in a relationship and this person used to have a A to Z in their bag. And I'll be like, what the hell do you have? This is a big ass national A to Z.
Because no one wants to know.
Yeah, this is back in the day, a while ago. So I'm like, why do you have an A to Z? And I was like subtly mocking it as like, why do you have this?
Yeah.
And it was their way of navigating the world. And they had this whole system of how they would move around and use that to get to what they needed to go and do. And I'm looking at it through thinking I'm normal as fuck. And they're like, what have you got that for? No. Like, this is weird. Just like use this and BlackBerry's got a map function now, you know, all this kind of stuff, diminishing their methods to make mine normal. Then they stopped using it, and then they would get lost often.
Yeah.
And then now I've like created this thing for them through my like observations, and people do it all the time. So I had to go back, and I went on a mad apology tour in about 2012 or something, because you just talk to people in a way and you're just like, why are you doing that for, bro? Like, that doesn't make sense. And you realize that you take people's vices from them, the way there's their support network from them, the systems, and then replace it with nothing.
How many people did you apologize to?
Oh no, the tour was long, bro.
How many categories?
How many categories? Sunday show, it was just mad, like, because I in Sunday show time, all I cared about is performers, marketing, filled up by how many. So in my head, I'm just doing a formula. So we have Richard Blackwood, Eddie Caddy. We put that out there. It's £5 before 7:30. How many will turn up? That's just what I'm doing every single week. Did we start on time? Did we finish on time? Was the break on time? Did anyone get left hanging around? I'm doing science in my head. Nobody else is doing science. So when people are doing things and they're just being themselves and they're like vibing and missing things, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? And I'm getting annoyed at people, but that's their attention span. That's their way of doing it. They're not coming to the show and being like, I don't care about this. This is fun and like hanging out. They're like in their own story about their things. So just a lack of empathy of dealing with people when they think differently. So I really honor the differences in people. That doesn't mean that I don't have boundaries. I do, probably more so than ever. But there is just that thing of observing people and how they process, because to them it's right until we make it wrong.
Yeah, it's interesting as well because, like, sorry, I was just interrupted very quickly. In the corporate world, they make you do this sort of test where it's like a personality test. There's a few different ones that you can do, but it's so that they learn how to manage you and how you learn to manage other people based on how they react to certain
Is that
things.
the one where people are like, I'm an EFNG, but
there's that one, or there's like, I'm a hat, or I'm a this, or there's a couple. There's a few.
Right. Okay.
So it's funny that you said about doing that with children, because I suppose the whole reason for doing that in the corporate world is to learn how to manage people so that you can get the best out of everybody. And if someone gets stroppy when you give them a piece of work, you understand why they've got stroppy, and the next time you challenge them in a different way, or you present it to them a different way. I like the fact that you could do that with children as well, because then that helps you to learn how to raise them, what to expect. I think that's a brilliant idea, personally. Because a lot of people that I know, as they've got older, in their late 30s and early 40s, they've then been tested. And it's like, shit, if I had only known this when I was much younger, I would have been able to navigate myself a lot better.
Pure stress. Pure stress and the things that you're trying to do. And also then it's like there are ways to manage all of those things. So like for ADHD, rest is incredibly important. So my day schedule is completely different to what it used to be. I don't peak out anymore. I don't just blitz through for the mission anymore. All those things are really different. And when you start taking care of yourself, manicure, pedicure, sleep, travel, food, diet, all these things, you're like, actually, I can get through the days. I can use my gift, but then I don't make it burn me out. And then it becomes a lot much safer thing for everyone to coexist around. So yeah, I'm really, really big on it. And it's something that I'm trying to understand more for myself. But the first thing that happens is when you identify it in yourself, you see it in everybody else. And then you realize that actually when I'm communicating with you, you have no chance of understanding what I'm saying. So maybe we just can't coexist, because you're not going to get what I'm doing or why I'm doing it. And I think that's why I'm a lot more sensitive to this message.
We gone back there again.
Episode of your Aunties.
This literally is going to be called The Smiths. Will needs to give us some money.
And the Smiths, it seems like.
Yes.
This episode is sponsored by HelloFresh today. Yeah, as I said. Do you feel like you're stuck in a dinner rut? With HelloFresh, you get fresh, pre-measured ingredients with mouth-watering, seasonal recipes delivered right to your door. Skip all those trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. You can now enjoy cooking and get dinner on the table in 30 minutes or less. With over 25 recipes to choose from each week, there is something for everyone to enjoy. All recipes are designed and tested by professional chefs and nutritional experts to ensure deliciousness and simplicity. How's your HelloFresh journey going?
Go on, you say when we had HelloFresh, what did you think of it?
Do you know what? I actually think HelloFresh is really underrated,
Oh, wow.
Because for me, it was time is an important thing. And when I'm cooking normally, I just feel like I spend a lot of time doing it. But when we had HelloFresh, it felt like time was a lot quicker because I'm thinking less because I got stuff laid out for me, blah, 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 blah. I know all the stuff is there. And the meals were good because there's always like a skepticism of like what this meal's actually going to taste like.
Yeah.
And the meals were actually really good. So, yeah.
Well, you heard what the Evans said. Not the Smiths, the Evans.
That's my favourite celebrity couple.
Yay! The Evans.
You don't want the pressure. The way my account's set up, I got the checkers and the savings.
Anyway, HelloFresh sponsors the Evans family. Go to the link in our show notes, get 50% off your first box and then 35% off your next 3 boxes. That's the link in our show notes for 50% off your first box and then 35% off your next 3 boxes. HelloFresh, the #1 meal kit.
Lovely.
Okay, so now it's time to get Auntie's Getting Your Business. We must wrap this up soon. Auntie's Getting Your Business is when we solve the family's problems.
Still doing that.
Yeah.
We got some dilemmas.
No.
So I had, this was a stupid one. Is this right? It's not really a dilemma, it's just a question. A husband.
Go on, a husband.
Why is this so
Right.
bad from the start?
A husband buys a sex doll that looks like his wife when she's not in the
Oh,
mood.
that couple.
Is this, can we normalize this, please?
Huh?
I'm not asking.
No, you
I'm
are.
stating. Am I?
No,
Get your eyes off me.
because isn't he saying that? Oh, because I'm not cheating.
Yeah.
The whole thing is
Is it
I'm not
cheating?
No, I know. But
Yeah.
do I want a doll in the room, like, or in the house, or like that's a bit weird.
They discussed
It's
actually
all a bit
having
weird.
a third person. So they wanted a unicorn to join them.
What's a unicorn?
A unicorn is like
What's
a
that?
single woman who's like the third person in a
Yeah.
relationship.
I'm gonna send you a book. It's okay.
Right. Go on.
Yeah, so a single woman who's gonna
I
join
don't
the
know about
couple.
these things. Okay.
But I'm sure there's loads of people that don't know what a unicorn is.
Okay,
We'll get to
cool.
that.
Yeah.
What is
A single
A single woman
Yeah.
who
Only
is
a woman,
oh
not
yeah, a
What's the
unicorn
matter?
or a third
Uh-huh.
Okay.
that's gonna come in. Usually it's a woman that's called a unicorn though. I
Okay.
think a man,
You'd think it was
I
a
don't
man
know.
'cause of
They
the
may
doll.
have another
Standing
name.
Man's a man.
Yeah.
There's no one in it.
An extra man, who knows? But yeah, that's what they wanted.
Scared heart.
But the wife said no,
Mm.
I don't want to
Of
have
course.
another woman.
Mhm.
And they compromised at a doll that looked like the wife.
Is this solving the situation? Is this a dilemma?
He said he's happy. This is what he said. The guy said he's happy. He gets to release himself whenever he wants to, and he doesn't feel like he's cheating on his wife because the doll looks like his wife, but with double E breasts, and her breasts are like an A.
Shut up.
Oh Jesus Christ!
Okay,
I
guys.
guess if you're gonna get an
Men will
enhanced
never surprise me.
So
Honestly.
it's got
Honestly.
E-breast.
It's got bigger breasts.
It
And-
don't chat back.
no holes
Whenever
always
he
open.
wants.
It's always open.
Whenever he wants.
Never a
So
red
is
day.
this a problem that we resolve with? Is it introducing a
For you guys,
and it
would that
looks like
work?
the wife?
Yeah, would that work?
Would that be all right?
you
Are you saying no? because your wife
have
is
to
here?
say that.
Just
No.
not doing it.
Okay, so
Silicone.
essentially the problem here is that the husband, this is why I was saying before your thing doesn't work, the husband isn't getting enough sex or the amount of sex that he wants. Yeah. So rather than, I mean, I'm assuming maybe they haven't, but rather than like coming to some sort of compromise with the wife of like
You child.
Giggity.
of like okay, let's address how much we are or
Having sex.
have thank you. And being like, can we like what's the issue? Can we ramp it up? Or like, you know, can we go from once a month to like twice a month or something? It feels like, and I'm not trying to judge him, if whatever works for you, but it feels like you've gone to the extreme and being like, let's employ this ridiculous thing of because in my head, I'm like, I just can't imagine
A dog.
lying in bed with a doll doing this thing. Like that just
Apparently
seems.
the doll's got suction things in it, and it's supposed to feel.
I'm sure it
Do
feels
Do
amazing.
they have the same
It's
name?
supposed to.
Yes.
Yeah. They
Wait,
got the same
wait,
name.
wait. Did they mold it on her?
Yes.
I don't think-
It's in
I
her
don't-
image.
Yeah, it's in.
not
Oh, no,
image.
no.
They molded it on her but made it tighter.
Guys,
And it has a suction ring. Because it has a suction.
He said, "Make it tighter."
Mold it.
What's that? Quintus.
Yeah, it's
that video is one of the best videos.
This is the result that you would introduce your relationship.
Like, I'm down for whatever you create in your marriage that is consented to, that works for you.
Marvyn, are you going to get one or not?
No, I'm not really a doll person, and I don't. For me, like, yeah, I think it's dope when you come up with an answer to extend joy in your relationship
Okay.
somehow. I think it does leave a door for other things. I think it's problematic that you adjusted the doll to your true liking, but or there's something impure about that. But at the same time, man, find your joy. life is short, and I think we often like demonize these things. He's found an answer, and she's consented. He offered or presented a third. The unicorn didn't work out, so they came at this idea of a doll. He's made it to adjust to his preference, and he works on it. So
How'd you clean it?
I just thought that.
In the bath.
I literally
Yeah,
just
you
know.
probably take out the.
I love
Parts.
this way your mind
Yeah.
goes.
No,
That's the
but
important part.
no, for
How much
me,
labor goes into maintaining the cleanness?
I would
It
think
wasn't
you
so
take
much
out the
labor,
battery
it was like-
part,
Yeah.
and then you probably like
Yeah.
push
It's
the
got a
whole-
battery.
hygiene.
because of the
The
Quintin.
the Quintin.
No, you're thinking
That's
games.
real gross.
What?
I just
Auntie Shadow.
I don't know. Like I'm kind of on the fence with this one because like if it's a solution for them, like a true solution, whereas she wants this as well, not just a compromise because this is what he wants.
Yes.
And both of the decisions are bad ones in her mind, but that one is the lesser of two evils.
Okay.
That's the fit, because it's like, okay, if I don't some women might feel if I don't consent to something, he's gonna go out and do it anyway.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? So instead of that, let's go for this.
But then,
What does she
Do you
get?
know what I mean?
Because she ain't getting up for
this
that.
is the point.
No, but
No, but then what she gets though is the level of intimacy that she's comfortable with, and I feel like if she says no to intimacy, like the toxic thing would be like to obviously force her or to make her feel bad about it. But the reality is, come up with an answer that's external to her, and it's like you've set the sexual standard in your relationship, and there's nothing you can do about it.
I think that's
My
I think obviously
fault.
that's an assumption, isn't it? The fact that he's got the doll shows that's what he wants.
Thank you.
But we can't actually see what she wants.
That's what I was getting.
We don't have
But
the
what she wants
answer.
is less.
No.
sex.
but-
Well-
but
she's setting
okay.
Well, not
Okay,
necessarily.
Let's think about
Not
why
necessarily.
she wants less sex.
Yeah.
Is it that she's not happy with the sex that he's
Well, she's n-
providing
yeah.
her?
This is what
Because
I love.
it's this-
You
no, but-
created this wonderful nuance about why she doesn't want to have sex.
No,
You've not
you
considered the
said-
nuance
you
behind
said what
why
she
he
wants.
wants to have more
You
sex
said
or why he wants a doll. Why
he
you
got
just
to
think
fuck
she's
his
amazing?
doll because she doesn't want to have sex with him, yeah? And all that much sex with him.
A fucking
so
doll.
my fucking thing, yeah, a literal
Literally.
fucking doll, yeah? So my thing is,
Why are you
if
smiling?
she got to...
Because
Auntie
it's
Farah.
literally,
That's what the doll does.
Auntie Farah is going to
Literally,
swear.
yeah.
I'm a medium man. I can't take sex.
Anyway,
Ooh, jeez.
Anyway,
I feel
my
unsafe.
point was and is, how do we know that he's given her the sex that she wants? Maybe she's saying no to having sex with him every day because he's got the deadest dick. Maybe they need to work on their sexual relations. Maybe they should go to sex therapy. There's so many things. Like he's satisfied now because he's got.
But what if they
you
did
also
all of
said
that?
Something. You was like, men want to have more sex and women don't. That's a myth that women don't want to have sex all the time. That's an actual myth.
Go on.
Pause.
Go on.
No. Go.
So,
Women, we can't speak.
No, not now.
the young lady is called Shah Gray, and she's 23 and her husband is 28. He's got a high sex drive. She says it was a joint decision to buy a sex doll. It was the best decision and has definitely improved our sex life. It's great because Callum has a high sex drive, and if I'm not in the mood, he's got D there. So she hasn't got her name.
Oh, okay.
She's called D.
Okay.
Who's the doll?
The doll's called D.
Okay.
We both love
D for
experimenting
doll.
with her, and she regularly
What, so the
joins,
woman?
and she regularly joins
Well,
our
that's
steamy
easy.
sessions too.
There you go.
She
So
joins
everybody's
our
getting
sessions.
out of it. Get the doll berserk.
Well, that's why. Okay, like I said, I'm on the
That's
fence.
fine.
Shah adds she's not just a doll.
Oh,
We're
wow.
really attached to her.
Oh.
She's helped us
Yeah.
strengthen our relationship
Come on, man.
and us and
How
set
many
our
gifts
sex
did you
lives
do?
on fire.
I mean, that's what Auntie Sade said. If they're happy and this is not just her doing it for him, then crack on, do whatever it is that you've got to do. But I am against when women have to fold for the sake of the man
Yeah.
and they sacrifice themselves.
What would be wrong with her doing it for him? In the sense of what is wrong with one person doing something for another person that they're in a relationship
There
with,
isn't,
so that they're happy?
but it shouldn't be to the detriment of yourself.
Oh, that's an
as well.
assumption. That's an assumption that it's to the person's
But if
detriment.
you're continuously making someone else happy, where is the room for yourself? You have to make yourself
But why are
happy
we
as well, you
assuming
know?
that?
Because
She-
women do that a lot.
Because women
That's
assume.
the thing. No, not assume. It's just like at the end of the day, like it's just, as a woman who knows women, talks to women all the time. Do you know what I mean? Like just so many times, like just doing things for men because they want to do it, not because they necessarily want to do it themselves, and they get pushed. Their limits get pushed. They get, not necessarily coerce, because their intention is I want to please him, but it's not necessarily I want to do this thing, and they're kind of stuck, because if they don't, they feel like they're going to lose something in their relationship, or even lose the relationship. Do you know what I mean? And I don't think that a lot of men are sensitive to those things. So what they do is they put their demand out there, and they don't know how to read the reaction in the right way. And I think a lot of women are actually scared to speak up because there's so much fear, like, in their decision making.
That conversation is an exact male conversation on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
The conversation isn't like men are trying to push, women are discussing like we might lose our relationship, and men are like, aha, I've got my wicked way, this is fantastic. There is the exact same conversation happening on the other side, where men are committing to an idea or a version of a woman that's presented in the beginning, and when that version changes, evolves, which she's allowed to be doing, then they are left with a completely different human being that no longer wants to participate in the way they want to be engaged in. They then sit there and think, well, what do I do about this? I don't want to leave my family or break up with my wife who I love or whatever to be able to be happy. So I'm saying the whole concept is incomplete. They've actually had a conversation and come up with an answer. I think that's the dopest thing.
Yeah, that's why I say I'm on the
He
fence.
didn't go out and cheat. He didn't go and do a madness. He presented one option that got knocked back, and he came up with a plan B. And the plan B is like different to anything I would ever have thought.
Yeah.
But I think that's actually dope.
Yeah, if it works for them, absolutely. And conversation is definitely key. And back to my point, if they're both happy, then fair enough. I just think that if you're in a relationship and one person is compromising more than the other, eventually that relationship.
But that other person
wait.
asked.
Remember what you just said?
But
what you just said about men sometimes wonder how come their women have changed and they're not doing the things that they were doing
because
before.
of that.
It's because when you try to compromise too much and you don't make yourself happy, eventually you'll need to fulfill your own happiness. It will come through. So these are the reasons.
What I'm saying is, and let's not make it gender at this point, because I think that confuses things. I'm saying both sides need to have asks.
Definitely.
When you go to someone and say, what's your wants and your needs? If they're like, no, I'm happy, this is great.
Yeah, but
and then I have needs, then my needs
the thing is, by
as a
taking away
person.
gender, it's almost like you mute the voice of women, because actually at the end of the day, in society, women are yes, they are. They are actually their arse are suppressed. That's how they're socialized.
Say that again.
No.
Wait.
So when you frame that argument, you said say it again. So I'm saying
the
it again.
beginning part.
So
when you take away,
when you frame it and you take away gender, it's like you're silencing women. Do you know what I mean?
So if you take away gender, why are you only silencing women?
Because in that scenario, what you're saying is that both people should have asked. And actually, women in society, they're socialized to suppress their arts. So it's just that it's not an equality. It's a false statement.
If you're taking away gender,
but it doesn't. You're losing the nuances around women that their arts are suppressed. Does that not make sense?
Yeah,
it makes sense.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
It makes sense.
It doesn't. Well, the point is,
I'm glad you tagged in.
No.
It
What I'm saying, first of all,
and the fact that you can't. No. But the thing is, no. Do you know why? Because the way that you started it is almost to diminish my point. So now you can start again.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
So what my point is, is that if you create an ask and then the ask is not honored, then yes, it diminishes women. But I'm saying two people, and by the way, that then ignores same-sex relationships. So it's not men and women. In a relationship, two people should be able to have a conversation about what their wants and their needs are. If you do not have wants and needs, and your only thing is to be pleasing the opposite person with your presence, when the other person then has needs, your lack of needs creates a minimum experience in a relationship, and therefore there is no capacity to grow without that other person pushing for what it is that they want. So immediately it is oppressive, which is why when we talked about monogamy being oppressive, it becomes a lockup. Because at some point you might be happy with where we are. I might have new asks. Then I'm not saying it's because you're a woman that you are not allowed to have asks, or your asks are no longer being honored.
It's not about what you're saying.
I would love to finish my point. What I would love to say is that it's really important that we start with the language that's been created. If no language has been created, we can't dishonor you. If nothing has been said, and if the relationship is unsafe and women can't speak, then the problem lies at that point where the relationship is unsafe and the woman hasn't been able to say what her wants and needs are. And that's a completely different conversation. But if you're invited to have a want and need and you don't have any, and the other person has many, and you're not willing to fulfill them, that creates a lockup. So regardless of the dynamic of gender, that's where the broken part is.
Okay. All right. So for men, are you guys aware that most women are socialized to not really put their wants out there?
from the beginning.
Like,
of
are you guys
relationship.
aware of that? Is that a thought, a consideration, or is it just an us problem?
No, I think it's a different point, but yes, I am aware.
Yeah, okay. Because I'm thinking, if you think of like the rate of divorce, and that most of them are initiated by women, maybe there is something to both of your points in that. If women get to the point where they're just over it totally, where they're like, I'm checking out, but if they also are not saying what they want in order to improve the relationship, and they just check out, I kind of feel like there is a point to it being a woman problem. Like, actually, we have to get over the socialization of it and speak about what we actually want.
I think we're going, well, I think slightly going for that now, where women are empowering themselves to take control of who they are and their narratives. I think in the fast-paced world of social media, it's shown as like shaking tits and ass and saying, I'm going to do this and I'm going to get a man for his money, and this kind of superficial kind of poster version of a woman's empowerment. But I think it is about speaking up more. And I think men really, unfortunately, when you have to take kind of a little bit of a backseat, and we can't take away the gender of a conversation, because society for so many generations and decades or whatever, it has been the man's voice, patriarchal rule that has determined how we all act. Even you guys have repressed yourselves in behaviors, what's masculine and what's not, and what's deemed, to be effeminate, and whatever the rules of being a man. So we can't remove that, because women are generally suppressing themselves. They have been suppressing themselves. It is great, and I think it's not idealistic it's idealistic, so don't try it. It's idealistic to think that let's start from ground zero, equal opportunities for everyone, because it's as silly as it is. I wonder if Shah introduced Derek the doll into the relationship, would that work for him? Would the man be as accommodating?
I guess the point to that is that if she isn't saying it,
and
if she isn't saying it, it is a bit like, actually, then where do we go from that? Because we can't assume on the other side that the person is going to say no if nobody's actually saying what they want.
I think what we have to work towards is a world where women don't feel that if they do speak up, they're going to lose everything, and that's what we're conditioned to think. And that's where
what role can men play in making the subordinate happen? And this is generally,
and it's just being it is the person that you
just
meet.
being open to it as well.
Like you said, when you're in like meeting the person that's right for you, being able to it's hard, but finding that person that really matches your energy.
But also, for me, I think it's that thing of like, women do go through people, they change, you evolve, don't you? So what you were doing, what made you feel good, what you were comfortable with 10 years ago might not be that, but you might not be that person now. So it's accepting and trying to grow with one another and being open and honest, not just being like, well, you never used to do that. And I think a lot of women, a lot of people sometimes get that when their relationships are breaking down. It's like, you didn't do that before, why are you doing that now? And then nobody wants to compromise. So I think back to this chick and her man, if this is what they want to do and they're both happy, then fair enough. It's just, there has to be that conversation where people don't feel like they're going to be judged because they don't want to do something that they might have done 10 years ago. We had that
conversation yesterday, innit? Just about women and being us. It takes a long time for women to get comfortable in being us. And if I don't want to wear makeup, if I'm not society's version of what a woman should be, being confident in that and not feeling like I have to wear heels, I have to wear makeup, I have to be a dolly bird because that's the only way, or I have to suppress my voice or my opinions, or if I want to swear, shout, cuss, debate, get in the mix of things, doesn't then make me masculine or a very unfeminine. What is that? Unfeminine? That sounds ridiculous. But anyway, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's those type of things that get normalizing girls from a young age. What's made you sad, mad, and glad this week? I want to go first.
You can go first.
I can go first.
Yeah.
My sad was being at my friend's funeral. Friend's dad's funeral. Let me get that right. So big up to the Samoa family. They lost their father, and it was just really nice to see them come together. But it was a very sad moment. I'm mad. Can't remember what I was mad. Oh, ongoing nonsense situation with the liberation initiatives. Very mad about that. Hopefully it will resolve soon. And I'm glad for being here with my aunties. and uncles just joshing. It's been a great afternoon. It's been fun. We're trying to help Marvyn uncancel himself. I think we're doing a great job. I'm really glad.
You can put your head up.
My efforts. Let's go. Anyone else? Who's next?
I'm sad as well because I was with you at our friend's dad's funeral yesterday, and it made me very sad for them and the family. I am mad because I'd never been to an African funeral before, and it just I was overwhelmed by the sense of tradition and all the things I saw from start to finish. So much tradition seeped in that, and it just made me really angry because in the Caribbean we don't have those sort of things, and it was just like, rather, white man really did fuck us over in ways that I didn't even fully understand at 45 years old. So I was mad that we don't have those things, but then I was glad because there were certain elements that come through. You know, the music is the same as Calypso, just the dancing, the beat, and how black people all come together. That definitely made it across the ocean. So that made me glad.
Okay, my sad is that I was ill and I'm a single person that lives alone, so I had to go out and get my own medicine, and I look like a crackhead. And I went to Boots and it was closed, and it was just all very sad. So I really felt sad for myself.
Aww.
And I'm going to skip my mad, but my glad is, first of all, one of our clients, Major League, we done an event with them and Nando's on the hottest day of the year, and it was a success. So I was really happy about that. Also glad because my business partner Beverly just got engaged. Yeah, that's the response. And so I'm just really, really happy for her. She's literally found the love of her life, and it's just a beautiful thing.
That's
And
lovely.
I am happy for our guests, Marvyn and Nii, today.
Yay.
Lovely. I'll go. So, I don't have a sad. I'm mad because this morning the Sister Space released a statement talking about the carnivals and that they want to be involved in them. And Notting Hill Carnival initially had knocked them back, but has now let them have a float. But Hackney Council are still maintaining that they do not fit the criteria to participate in the carnival, and they are asking for the community to really get on to Hackney Council and make sure that they are a part of it. And there's so many problematic things with Hackney Council. If you go onto their page, you'll read through their Instagram. There's loads of people talking about all of the various things that Hackney Council are doing to actually keep out grassroots black organizations. And we all collectively need to be a part of reshaping that, and especially for these guys to allow them to be a part of Hackney Carnival as well.
I want to council, man. Come on, I want to get them.
You should.
Do it.
Man.
That would be wicked.
Definitely should.
That's a good look.
I actually like that.
It's so amazing. Like, I have so much affinity for them.
They're brilliant.
Man, when people don't honour them and the work that they're doing, I just think Hackney Council dropped the ball on it. It's like the Labour Party have become this mad white supremacist movement.
Yeah,
mate.
Pretending to do good, but doing very reckless things. And it's just time. I genuinely think Hackney will turn into a different party to represent them, because Hackney have become really entitled. The low traffic network zones have been really problematic for small businesses and navigating.
Mm-hmm.
Like it used to take me like 7 minutes to get to my mum's house, and now it takes me 40 minutes.
Oh wow!
Because I have to go around this very narrow way of being. It's just like trying to get people to cycle is impractical. I have 2 children. Just ignores the logistics of what people need in the borough for this idea of being green. And there's other ways to achieve green targets gradually over a period of time, rather than just overnight changing the fundamentals of the borough. And so, yeah, these well-to-do Tiki Torch rights are driving up the wall. Well enough.
For you.
Did you do glad? You didn't do glad.
So my glad is, I'm just glad for all of you guys being here, us recording, and all of the opportunities that are coming our way in August as well, our lives, just people just getting in touch with us to be a part of their shows. Like, I'm really glad for that.
I'm sad for the man that I saw on the Bakerloo line when the train came. He's pastries dropped on the ground, and he picked them up and put them back in his packet and got on the train when there was a bin right next to him. That man has eaten those pastries.
Yeah.
And
He has
he
them.
has that man has ate those pastries.
Correct.
No, wait. That man
They
now
are
go
both
chop them
correct.
pastries.
He possibly ate them, but he's definitely eating them.
You just saying yam, right? Just like that.
I mean, we're giving options here.
I think in the comments, can you just tell us, should it be eaten, ate,
Or
Yam.
yam.
yam, or chopped? What?
Or the other
Mm.
possibility, he put it in his bag, take home, put it in the bin at home.
Because the
No.
bin next to him was
He missed
Full.
it, he didn't see it.
No,
Empty.
he didn't.
empty.
see it.
It was
He didn't
empty.
see it.
Are you calling his body a bin? Is that what you're saying?
Am I calling black men's bodies bins? No.
So you're saying black men are trash, is what you're saying.
That is what I'm saying. I stand by it.
So are you. I didn't even say.
You can't even say those.
Is
jokes.
this the podcast you're bringing me to?
Are you implying that your woman controls you.
I like what you did
And that
there.
black women are controlling.
They are.
And angry.
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 So I can't even say no.
What's made you glad? Sad, mad, or glad?
So mad. I'm mad. No, I've got a mad now. I'm mad about the way that I've been treated. Me and my brother Marvyn have been treated on this podcast. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I'm mad about that. But I'm glad.
I could be talking to Jesus right now.
You should be talking to Jesus.
I need to be on a meeting.
All week.
Oh dear. And I'm glad because the boys football team won their match this morning 4-1. And if anybody knows me, they know that I am not a football person whatsoever, but they've gradually like got me to really love the sport. And I got made assistant manager of the team, and I was there this morning on the sidelines shouting all sorts of stuff, thinking I don't even know who I am anymore. But I'm glad about that.
Nice. Uncle Marvyn.
What's the order again? Sorry.
Sad, mad, glad.
Sad. I miss my children. Please come back to me, please. Like we just have so much fun. We have our own little world, and then when they're with me, I lose track of time and stuff. And when I'm here, I have to deal with adults and the fuckeries and the blacklisms and it's a little underwhelming. So
And be called trash.
because trash by people that you used to love and respect. So I've got to find new heroes as well, which is another difficult thing. Black women heroes. My preferential heroes originally until I experienced them up close. Mad is Kemi, Blood Clot,
Bad Enoch.
More what she represents rather than who she is, because who she is just a character of like problem in whiteness that exists, which is where they create these like boogeymen in blackness where they oversee us and tell us that we're lazy and intelligent and we make up fantasies about our lived experiences. So I hate the fact that that is possible and that exists. And it's sad that proximity to whiteness will always divide blackness. But we'll figure that out. It's a long road, Shout out to her. We'll still hang out. We'll do Nando's. We'll do Carnival tomorrow.
Wow.
She don't want to go Nando's with
Does
you.
she want
Carnival?
And she doesn't eat chicken.
Wow.
It's too black.
Is that a metaphor? No? All right. So the point is...
What's made you glad, Uncle Marvyn? What's made you glad?
What's made me glad? It's a very good week.
The clip.
I'm gonna chop this up. A very good week. Hanging out with everybody else, cast and crew, and learning some really good things about production and storylines and like the effort they go to kind of make them integrous, which is a really important thing because they have a knife crime story currently going on, and they wanted to center it around young black men to be able to lead people on a journey of their biases and just the level of thought that went into it. Like it was interesting to see the layers of teams that were involved in making that decision and how the writer wanted to bring it to life. So I was very intrigued by that, and we'll hopefully be doing some cool stuff with them soon. And then we're at Latitude Festival, which is probably the whitest place I've ever been, ever in my whole life. It's like they've gathered white people from everywhere. Like they're all meeting white people together in one place, and then it was just like have fun. And here's manic street preachers, and snow patrol, and like have the best time. And it was really nice. It was actually a very peaceful space because I was a part of the Zen area, and I told my book. I read my book under like a willow tree or something.
Oh wow, that's cool.
And so they got something right. I swear to God, like they know how to look after themselves and zone out and tune in. So we're gonna go there next year and black it out, madness, and have some dads around now. We'll go wind it up, and then lots of good things are happening, man. I'm really at peace, and thank you for inviting me as well, because I would be doing something really earnest right now, but I think also. It's nice to be low vibrational people that you love. Right?
Oh, look at this dude!
Wow.
Just tapping into those frequencies.
Okay.
We need some sage.
And
I mean, people listening and watching, this episode will come with a parental warning and guidance, and we will direct everybody to where can we find you, Uncle Marvyn?
Probably you don't, to be honest. Dude, please, I have books. We do buy my book wherever you are. My book is out now on all platforms. It went to number 2 on Amazon, which I was very
Nice.
Well done.
Give us a brief overview.
So you can go to number 1.
That is like an old African saying. You know, it's like your dad just like, oh, it's number 2.
Yeah.
What
We're
is
number 1 over here. It's like,
exactly?
and so the book is about affirmation, so it's teaching children mental resilience and language to recite in their minds whenever they're challenged. And I read it to some children who had autism, and just their response to it was amazing. And he was just like yelling, "I am enough," and then dad started crying, and it was just like really beautiful because it's like actually seeing a child say that when he knows what probably is lying ahead, and the fact that I've actually created that. It's not really about me; it's just the fact that it exists and makes me really happy. So I can't remember what I was saying, but find me wherever that is, and just search Marvyn Harrison. I'm on all the platforms, saying things, pushing the agenda of equality, cursing blood clots, and that will never stop, man. I think I'm just, I'm going to be a terrible older man.
It's brilliant. We lean into that. Uncle Nii, where can we find you and get hold of you?
This Nii Odartei Evans on Instagram is probably the best place.
Does it?
Okay,
we've done our Spotify playlist.
We can leave.
We can leave that. Okay,
yeah.
cool. We can do that. Okay, guys. I think we've had quite enough of this. It's been a brilliant episode. Thank you, Uncle Nii, Uncle Marvyn, for joining us for this special celebration of Aunties and Uncles Day. We had some good conversation about what it means to be an auntie and uncle. Please leave in the comments your thoughts about what it's like to be an auntie and uncle, or impactful, inspirational aunties and uncles in your personal life or in the celebrity world out there. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow us on all platforms your aunties could never. We have a Patreon, 3 tiers, your choice. Sign up, and we'll be back next week.
Next week.
Yes, we will. That's the trip we want to plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, definitely.
Where?
Next year,
Essence.
Essence.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
100.
Let's all go.
I don't want to be like with them.
No.
I mean, I wouldn't go unless.
No, only if you have.
Can we have this very elitist conversation offline?
All you corporate Jews.
Who wants to sponsor us?
Yes.
Yeah, we need a
Sponsors come
sponsor.
forward.
Don't black dads. You are just gonna have a mash up in Essence. Make it happen, please.
You know you want to see the content. You know
Seriously.
you want to see it.
You know you want to see it.
That would
So-
be huge. That would be amazing.
Honestly.
I'm
Down
nervous.
in the universe now.
Why?
Because some of us we're quite an emotional group. We're not.
Oh my God! So
Really?
what are you trying to say?
Too.
Are you trying to say-
Emotional.
You know.
I can't even read this because I'm even stuck.